Hello everyone, my name's T. Welcome to my channel of unscripted yapping. Today I've got two very special guests. We're going to be talking about a strange book that many Scientologists may be aware of. It's called Have You Lived This Life Before? So here.
If I know you, I know what you'll do. You'll love me at once, the way you did once upon.
So I have the wonderful Mirriam Francis joining us. Yay. And the fantabulous LRFM. Woohoo!
T, that intro is so good.
Oh, thank you.
We had watched it before, but like that was super cool. It gave the vibe. It's like eerie. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to like put, because I remember you saying something about dolls and aliens and I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if that came out all right for the viewers, how it was, but yeah, like I say, unscripted yapping. We are ourselves, and if you don't like it, don't have to watch. And yeah, we haven't planned it at all. We're just going to talk about this weird book, which I will show you.
And it's also called Have You Lived Before This Life?
I always get that wrong. Yes, thank you.
I think you said this life before.
Yeah.
I think you said have you lived this life before?
Yeah, I know.
We have not lived this New York life before. But this book is called Have You Lived Before This Life?
Have you lived before this life? Yeah. And yeah, with this creepy cover. What do you reckon of that? And
so
I found it in a
super creepy.
This book used to be for kids, children in the Sea Org. This would be definitely a book that would be sitting in the library of every organization or every cadet org in their little course admin area.
Yeah, right.
And they would be sitting on the shelf. And it was specifically like if people were reading that or Fear. L. Ron Hubbard has a book called Fear. Just these like crazy books that like if you were reading it, you would have to have like specific permission to be reading the book. There would have to be a reason for you to be like reading the book. So it's interesting. I feel fun and absolutely rebellious saying like that we get to read this, and not only just between us, but to whoever's watching now, and be able to, for you guys, I'm going to be shocked, or I might not be. I don't know. Maybe I'm used to this kind of these sort of, I guess these are stories from what I know, from what I remember. These are stories of auditing sessions of people who went past life in their auditing session. That means when they were auditing, they went in their memory bank and they recalled 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago that they raped somebody or that they, you know, this is the idea, the concept is, and now today when you see people with their briefcases, and of course, if you watch DOA or Matt, MD Media 18, they're out there protesting, you'll see that they have constantly, there's people, Scientologists walking by with these briefcases, and what they're doing is they're auditing. In there are the questions and their worksheets, and they're auditing of everything of whatever stories they've recalled about past lives or about this life of thetans, spirit, little body thetans attached to them. And they used this e-meter in the case that they're handcuffed, and all of their information that's going to the case supervisor, the senior CSK supervisor, it's all in this briefcase. And it's called the OT levels. And you only can start auditing these body thetans when you're on these OT levels. And part of auditing is recalling the past lives that you could have murdered somebody, or you could have, whatever it is, you stole. The reason you stole, you know, you were a robber is because you were a bank robber in another lifetime, and you've been doing this for lifetimes and lifetimes. So it's actually normal for you. Anyway, all this information is in these briefcases that are walking by. These Scientologists are walking by. And not only that, this is the false tactic, the hypnotic tactics that they're using to, in the end, blackmail a whole society and hopefully a whole planet is what they're literally trying to do. And so this is just a book that only certain people are allowed to. And if they could read, like if they were, you know, almost this never was a Scientology word. I just don't know. It's not upstat, and it's not mature, but it would be like that if they were like mature enough, if they were like strong enough, if they could hold the confront, then they could read this book, because this is about real auditing sessions that L. Ron Hubbard had of people recalling their past lives. I have never read the book. I'm going to be honest. I have read I have had the book read to me as like a way that an older cadet was like showing, you know, teaching the younger children, like possibly new stories or parts of stories that an older adult approved that they could hear.
So it's aimed at children. Is it aimed like?
No, it's not. T. So it's not
aimed at children. Yeah. What's your experience
so
Mirriam?
So it's so interesting that you say that, Laura, because at the ATA, which was at the time that I was there, was for the younger kids. I didn't see this book or hear of it or anything until I went up to the ranch, which was for the older kids. I went to the ranch at 11 years old, and that book was, you know, it was just being passed around. Like, we would always pass around books to read. And this book is, like you mentioned, Fear. Fear is like a fiction.
The cover of the book looks scary, honestly, when you first see it.
Totally.
Can you guys pop it up again? It is scary. I remember looking at going, I don't think I'm supposed to be reading this.
There's quite a few different covers. I'm going to pop one up in a minute. You carry on talking. I'm going to find it, because I'm wondering what the hell it is. It's like this statue
what year
thing.
Was that one, T? What year was that?
This one, I don't know. Where do you find it?
We need to make sure this is the real data, the real tech.
Yeah, I think it is
the real one.
Directly from the source.
Another cover on that is a woman, I think, at the front of it. But yeah, T, the other thing is, I forgot to remind us to line up, was that Dianetics auditing session. Like, it was some, you know, that video that I sent you, the link. Do you mind getting that as well while I'm chatting?
Send me something.
It's in our chat. It's in our chat, the link to the auditing procedure, because I think that really speaks to what Laura was saying about the hypnotic practices, and this like recalling and these creating these false memories and that sort of thing. So I really wanted to show what Laura's talking about. But so I read this book when I was about 11 years old, and I just remember it was just like these like very wild.
Mirriam, how much older are you? How much older are you than me?
I'm 40. I think you're a little bit younger.
So you're 2 years. So yeah, it would, like, I know 2 years doesn't seem like a big thing, but for the cadet org specifically and the Sea Org, 2 years was a huge difference. Even though they weren't treating us like kids, they still knew that 2 years difference was a huge difference. Like, but so you would have probably been in the lower bracket of the younger child that could still hear. Or the cadet. I shouldn't say child. It's so weird. I'm trying to unlearn the words because they were fake. And so I'm trying to be like, well, we were just children while we were marching, instead of saying cadet, because it doesn't get the story across when you say cadet, because in the outside world, a cadet is somebody who's supposed to be learning marching and military and all that. Yeah. So children. So anyways, going on a roll. I feel like you were allowed. Yeah, you were. Mirriam was like 2 years old enough. Like that again. It sounds horrible, but they would have put her to more mature, harder task things, even though she was 2 years older than me. So she probably was reading certain things.
Yeah. So they didn't want you to get like re-stimulated on the whole track, basically. Yes. But these stories are based on, like Laura mentioned, the book Fear. But I think that's I think is like a fiction book as an example. But this one is the difference between this one, like Laura was saying, is that it actually has real case stories of people who received auditing who then said, like, this is my past lifetime and this is what I experienced, and they truly believe that, and this is compiled into this book of all these various stories. So you'll see that they're listed by like case number, and each one of them they're quite different, so it's going to be really interesting to look at that. But yeah, the case
oh, where did it go? Sorry, I did have it a second ago. The thing you sent me. I've got so many tabs, guys.
The video for the procedure.
Yeah, I've got it here somewhere. I just need to find it again because I've got so many.
Just scroll up in our Facebook.
No, I got it.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, no, I did that, and then I can't find the tab that it went into because I've got so many.
Okay.
Just bear with
Oh, good. Oh, good. While you're doing that, yeah. So I'll just.
Card? Is it the Dianetics procedure card? It's
no, that's an article or.
All right. Sorry. Okay, I don't have the other one then. It's before that, yeah. Oh yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
12.
Beautiful.
Basic procedure using Dianetics. Okay, where are you then? Where does it go? Oh, there we go. All right.
So the procedure itself, you'll see, this is the example that I've provided here is Dianetics auditing, but actually a lot of this, I mean, nowadays, a lot of it's done on like the e-meter to discover these like whole track experiences. Dianetics is actually a very simple form, like an early form, the original form of like Scientology, well, what then led into Scientology counseling, quote, counseling session.
Is this like book one? Book one auditing?
Yeah, this is book one. Yeah, that's right. So we'll just have a look at the procedure. Yeah.
Whoops. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. Right. Okay. I shall play it. Hang on. Whoop.
And I don't know if you have to do any sort of copyright thing
the basic
so that you can
procedure.
Just let the world
know. So people on the replay, this might not exist.
Auditing each other. This is called co-auditing.
I'm back in one sec.
The person receiving the auditing is called a pre-clear because he hasn't yet been cleared of the engrams in his reactive mind.
Okay, are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Great. And have you rested?
The person who guides the pre-clear through the procedure is the auditor.
Good, good. And have you eaten properly?
You should strive to be the best auditor you can be. You'll expect nothing less from the person who will be auditing you.
Well hungry? Well,
there's a definite code of conduct
is like really
that every
familiar.
auditor
Hey,
must
Laura.
follow.
Isn't it?
Not just to be
weird?
polite, but because it's necessary for auditing to work. It's called the auditor's code, and it outlines the attitude you should have toward your pre-clear. For auditing to work, an auditor must be trustworthy.
Well, we'll say
keep your auditing appointments and be there on time.
Keep your auditing appointment.
And by the way, a trustworthy auditor never reveals any confidential matter concerning the pre-clear. An auditor is at all times kind, considerate, patient, and persistent.
No, I'm telling you, it can't be true. It's just my imagination.
Well, what do you see?
Never criticize or get
angry.
Okay,
pause. Can you pause that? That is such a good point.
Keep your opinions to yourself.
Can you pause that, T?
You know, I think I'm tired of running this in.
All right, yeah.
She said, no, this can't be true. It's just my imagination. And then the auditor is like, see how like crazy freaking dead face she was? And she's just like, well, okay. What do you see? And so then you're visualizing and by the way, you'll see how the procedure is, but they close their eyes when they're doing this recall, puts them into a state of reverie. It explains it. But then they're just like looking and creating these images.
There's a whole thing with the cat, you know, where they, even when you're a brand new person coming off the street, they use this idea of look at the cat. But they say, like they say, think of a cat. They're saying this is how the mind really works. So they're saying, think of a cat. And so you think of a cat. They go, good. Now close your eyes and think of a cat. What do you see? And then you're like, well, I see a cat and she's going down the path of so that's like they normalize that with, and this is how auditing works. And it doesn't matter if you bring up something or if somebody's not listening to me, I need to describe it. And so the auditor can just go, what do you see? And it allows them to explain their view of what they're seeing without being interrupted or being told what to think about their case.
Yeah,
it's such a good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, I mean, my sort of idea of it, like having not done it, I guess, you know, like when Reckless Ben went in and he went out undercover and he got audited and he said, you know, he went in talking about his injury. I think he like broke something in his neck. And so he told his version, but then you have to keep going back and doing it again and again. And he said he was in there for like 10 hours. Yeah. And he said, like, you know, he's in there for 10 hours. And what it did was, when he looked at his story at the beginning and the end, it's like almost like it changes his perception, changed his story over time. So it's like almost implanting false memories. Well, it is, isn't it? I guess but it's just that kind of mind control, hypnosis-y kind of thing because you're in a hypnotic state after a while, aren't you? Of doing the same
so what
thing
Laura just Yeah, so what Laura described is the first, like she said, it was like the first thing that you learn as a new Scientologist is that this is your, like, these are your mental image pictures. This is your mind. You are not your body. You're a spiritual being. And so this thing that you're looking at, when you're looking at these pictures, these are the pictures in your mind. And there's this file clerk that, you know, files all these images and sorts and retrieves them. So all you have to do is ask the file clerk to retrieve these images, and then they will bring it forward for you. In this session, the auditor then validates that as this is a real thing and discounts people's ability to have an imagination. Like it's so strange that the fact that you can imagine things are, you know, and actually create ideas and memories and thoughts and pictures and images, and you can bring sensory in from other experiences and create a new experience in your mind. And then that's completely sort of discounted. When you're in the actual session, everything is treated as valid. So when you say, oh, I see an apple, and they say, okay, well, what color is it? Oh, it's a red apple. Okay. And da-da-da. Oh, and when I get into it, it's crunchy and it was juicy. And you can create this whole story, and then they'll treat that as if that has really occurred in your life.
Yeah, and then they'll say, recall an earlier time you had an apple or whatever, earlier, and you're like, I don't know. Well, for some reason, I just thought of this magical mushroom, you know, purple sparkly apple, and then you're like, oh my God, I was tripping on LSD, and well, recall another time you were tripping on LSD eating an apple, and you literally, so then you're like, oh, you were tripping in another lifetime. So then they're saying all the images and everything you see of, like right now, if I was like, hey, both of you think of a big, bright, beautiful rose. So you both have, like, you know what I mean? So you're always going to get an image of something, and they're going to use that image to bring you somewhere.
Okay, so you just said that, and the image that came into my head now was like, you know, like you get those, I don't know, AI pictures, and it was like a rainbow rose with like the fake droplets of water on it. That's what came into my head.
Exactly,
you know?
That's the one I was thinking of. That's the one.
It's just a memory. It's just a memory of something I've seen on fucking Facebook or something, you know?
Right. So, but the point is you're always going to now, if you also now have the option to make up something or to pretend that you made something up when you actually did do it, like when you did molest somebody, or you did murder, or you did steal, or you did fraud the IRS. It gives you a borderline in the auditing session where either way, it doesn't matter. Just tell us anything, because this is your safety pocket. This is where, remember, everything you tell the auditor is confidential. They even say this right before on this video. So there's so many, and like even the pinch test out on the street, it's the same method of the cat. Oh, recall the moment of the pinch. Oh, you see the meter? Now we know that we can make you recall all the way into your past lifetimes just by using this e-meter. But you got to pay millions by the time you get to OT3 to actually do it for yourself.
Yeah, and that's beautifully explained. And also, let's say you think of a pink elephant, and you go, oh, well, that can't be possible because elephants are not pink. And then you go, well, and then they go, okay, well, when was this? And you're like, oh, well, this, or where was it, or whatever. And you're like, suddenly you're like, wow, this couldn't have occurred on this planet in this lifetime. Well, it must have been on the planet of Zorg, where they do have pink elephants, and they have purple, you know, there's purple bananas there. And this one time.
And you know what else they have there? They have Sea Org members and a billion-year contract. That's why you sign billion-year contracts, because you've lived so many billion years. Yeah. And what's another billion years? It's nothing, because look, you see pink elephants on planet Zorg.
That's such a great point, Laura, because like going to the grooming, you know, being told, because this have you lived before this life this isn't the only, you know, we had so much mythology growing up from the earliest age, from the age that we could first, you know, have these types of conversations. So for me, as early as 8 years old, I began to hear about this like mythology of like, you live lifetime after lifetime, like all these different things. And like my own mother told me, she described something like who she thought I was in a previous lifetime, which is absolutely insane. And so we were already like surrounded by and told these stories and ideas as children, you know, at a time when, you know, your imagination is very vivid and active as well. So then you go on to, you know, you could be reading something like this. But the other thing we had,
but not even talking directly, not even talking directly about access to having this, that young children, our own not the parents, because remember, our parents were not with us unless they were literally fucking abusing us or just seeing us for a certain amount of time and then heading on back to work, which the time was literally a few hours. That's it. If you got more than a few hours, you were lucky. If you got the whole day after 4 months of not seeing your mom, you were lucky. But the point is even in the behavior of knock it off, stop being banky. What is the bank? What is the reactive mind? It is all your images from this lifetime and all of your other past lifetimes. So that's the engraving of like, well, no, I never told my daughter that she was something another lifetime ago. But what you are telling me is that I have lived before this life yet, whether I know it or not. And when I find that out, it will be because when I'm ethical enough to start going up the bridge to total freedom to find that out.
Mm-hmm.
It's an automatic brainwash hypnotic state. Anyways, I didn't want to throw you off, but like no matter which way you go, you're getting auditing and you're getting sec checked and you're gonna blame it on something that you're gonna have to handle and realize, oh, it was just that thing, not me, because I'm so ethical and amazing. 100%. But once I'm in the real outside world, everything I did create happened to me because I have lived many lifetimes before and I should know better by now. And that murdering and raping is actually not even a big deal. We have bigger problems than that to handle in this universe, not just this planet.
That's such an incredible
point, Laura. Yeah. Just the idea as well that like we weren't able to try and understand what was going on and like process emotions and process different things because we were being told that there is so much that we don't know, that we have not yet recalled, we have not yet addressed it in auditing. And so there was always, I guess, like secrets and, do you know what I mean? Like of like things you'll discover if you keep going, like even from kids.
Yeah. And if you don't discover it, and if you don't achieve whatever it is that they're telling you you're going to achieve, it's your fault. You're not doing the tech 100%. Right. You're not believing how you're supposed to believe. Otherwise it would work. So you're automatically forced into hypnotic behaviors and states where you're automatically forced into molestation. You're already automatically forced into child abuse. You're already Scientology is this.
Because these things have already happened to you and you've already done them to other people.
Stop dramatizing.
And the other thing is that I was just wanting to finish up on that was that the Advanced magazine was a magazine that had stories. It would come out, I think, every month or every few months or whatever it was. But it was all the OT stories were in there, and I was reading that as young as. Or being read to, like Laura said, older kids would read to us. But I can remember coming across these stories as young as, well, let's see, it was before I was 11. It was before I was at the ranch. So it was when I was at the ATA AB. So, 9, 10, probably around those ages of reading like this OT story of where they were like, they postulated that the light was going to change from red to green, and at that moment it then changed, or this long lost friend that they had been wanting to connect with suddenly calls them out of the blue, and so we believe that like you could have these like powers and all this sort of thing.
Or when like you would see the bus driver at Clearwater. Sorry, we're totally going to get back to this video quickly because it's not even the stories of the book that we're trying to get to. But
I know.
It's so simple that like every fucking step of our lifetime in Scientology, not even in the Sea Org alone, like just getting out of the Sea Org and being out, even like the bus drivers in Clearwater, if they were a bus driver, if they had that OT bracelet on, they had more information from you, and it didn't matter if they were. I can't judge them because I could have been a bus driver and a garbage driver last lifetime. Like good that point. I could, you know what I mean? So like, sorry, it's like. It's so fucking weird. It's like they allow you to be the biggest being and not have all these like restricted obligations that a normal child would have. And that's why it's so good to just let the child be and become a big being and thick and strong and learn. But then you're like, no, there's a whole reason that after so many generations of history, family members and shit have figured it out to be like this. Why the fuck are you abusing and not allowing a child to have consent? You think that other religions, which they have and do the same thing that is going on in Scientology? Yes. But do they literally in the nowadays take their passports, interrogate and program and hypnotize children from birth before they're even existing, before they're even a thought? Our parents already had planned our childhood and how we should and going to behave at the moment we were born and before then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and the reason bad every step of the way to the bus driver who's the OT5, like you can't judge. There's no judgment yet. You haven't done it, Mirriam T. You haven't even gone clear yet. So you can judge all the fuck you want, but you actually have nothing to even compare it to. Go up the bridge first, then you can compare it. But the only way to compare it is to get hypnotized by it. You have to get hypnotized by it first to see if it even is comparable. It's like, you know, it doesn't make sense. You're hypnotized. You can't consent then. Well, then children can't consent, and especially not from a fucking born age before their parents just began even abusing them themselves.
And this is the reason why I wanted to have you guys on and talk about this. But we want to have some fun as well.
Yes, we're going to have fun. We are.
Yeah.
And this is so fun. This is so fun. I love when Mirriam's on like this. When I can be stoned, I can be alert, I can be tired, I can be. It doesn't matter. And there's always something floating in our minds that we can talk about. And literally, even a video clip like this is making us talk about all this. Like, oh my god! And then like, and it just got triggered by the one. And what do you see?
It's and
Laura,
I want you guys
I just love how you. I was just gonna say, Laura, I love how you described all of that. Like, that's all really real to me. And what's really cool is like having these conversations where we're also like, we've spent so much time individually putting things together, like, hang on, but that didn't make sense that they made us do that then, and like, why did this, and how come? And I love what you're explaining there, like how this mystery and this mystery is built up and this information is withheld from us, like this higher you know, well, if you do this, then you can understand, and these carrots and stuff, but then never providing us with any real life skills or real education, handicapping us all the way through. And imagine
if you were talking to somebody about this who was like knowledgeable about science, right? They're doing the same thing. They're literally going like, okay, look, well, this is how an insect is, and then they form into this, and they grow, and they show you the butterfly from the cocoon and all this shit. Like, you can literally see, but so is Scientology. They're just forcing you to believe facts without showing you the proof. And the only proof you do have around you are the other Scientologists and the films and all the events that they keep forcing you to go to, and the promo and the lie. It's all a lie that they have to uphold, the hypnotic state. Hi. Oh, this is N theta. You're in a whole like hypnotic state. You're using different languages. You're believing that these fucking auditing sessions you're having
different reality
from past lives, from different dimensions.
Completely like created like a different reality. It's seems to be a very kind of like sophisticated, put together program.
And it's very serious. It's these stories we're going to get into after this video. It's very serious. These are like, L. Ron Hubbard would never in his diabolical mind never have put out a book like this if it wasn't like real believable lies he was sticking to. Like, you know, and or these hypnotic fucking brainwashed Scientologists that have gone all the way up to OT7 and they're coming up with these, or allegedly coming up with these past lives. Have you lived before this life story?
Well, Laura, here's an interesting thing I wanted to add in there. So the reason why I specifically chose the Dianetics auditing to be shown is because it takes us back to that procedure was created in 1950, and this book, I'm not sure if it shows you what the publishing dates are. Well, probably will if you open up the book on the inside. But
1977.
1977, yeah. But that might be the publication of that. I don't know if that's the original. Like, do you know what I mean? That specific. Does it show the original publication date?
Have a look.
Because I think the timing was closer to the Dianetics.
Okay.
I guess as they were moving. Anyway,
but either way, like either way, 1950, 1960s, 1970, 1980, 1990, like it doesn't matter because the same garbage had to be enforced and applied fully. And like David Miscavige himself tweaked it or changed it a little bit to keep the PR in of Scientology. Nobody wants to know how racist or pedophobic or homophobic fucking L. Ron Hubbard was. So they got to change certain words out of these books. And so they write different times. But in the end, it's the same garbage. It's literally the same garbage as Dianetics, barfy volcano.
Redesigned.
Redesigned by our own parents. Jeff Hawkins, who I've done multiple live streams with, has literally explained the camp and how shitty the promo looked for the Dianetics. And so when he did it, you know, David Miscavige was so proud of him and da-da-da-da. Like, this is all the fucking lie that was built up. That all goes down to knock it off, snap it, stop being banky. Honey, it's not even you. This isn't you. Knock it off. Like, get your TRs in. We understand that you haven't made it up the bridge yet to total. You haven't made it up past clear, little body you. But you're a big spirit you. So stop that and stop using stop that bad communication. You're separating everything that you're doing. It's not you. Knock off this behavior. You're behaving like somebody else.
You just have a stuck flow, and it's a ridge. Okay,
Stop
you're creating a ridge.
This
is out of valence. Okay, even that idea of like out of valence, that's like being somebody else. And sometimes you can be out of valence on like because you encountered another spirit in a past lifetime. But what I was trying to get to, I guess, is what I wanted to say is that this stuff comes back to the beginning, like you were saying, like it's right the way through. And these past life things started coming out of the Dianetics processing, and then on from there where he was creating the Scientology techniques, it was sort of coming out more and more, because really a lot of the Scientology as you go, because really like how much do you have to process in this lifetime? And then you need more material, right? Well, fuck, if you can access the imagination, that is, you have infinity material. Unlimited.
And
like, okay,
even when you're bored, like Grant Cardone, you can literally be auditing things that have nothing to do with the price of fish in China. Like, it's just so dumb. And here he is, like, running and championing for Trump. Like, this guy's an insane, literal, played down, dumb, robotic, manipulative OT8 Scientologist who practically signed a Sea Org billionaire year contract. This same
you worked for him. You worked for him at one point, didn't you?
Yeah. And so you've met him now. Look at him. He's so full of shit. Look at what auditing does to children. Look at what auditing does to men. Why are fucking men even auditing? Like, why are they going and giving off things that they should go? Because legally they get away with it in Scientology.
Yeah.
In the outside world, a therapist would have to report it. They would have to report it. In the inside world, a Scientology auditor does not remember and does not recite on the wall like they do with the KSW steps of Scientology 1,000 times a day, that they need to report pedophilia and rape and L2D, that they call that. They need to report that to the authorities. They don't remind the auditor to do that. In fact, they don't. They say you report it to security and ethics. That's it. All auditing gets reported internally. And so if you're getting these millionaires or these people coming from, you know, the Nation of Islam Farrakhan, you know, like, then you are making money and you're doing something really disgusting in a very manipulative way, spiritually sucking other spirits, families, children. You're part of a whole cycle of destruction. So yes, this is going to be so interesting. The stories and everything, because it breaks it all the way down to, if adults are getting hypnotized by this, imagine what children aren't getting developed in their brain as they're growing through their main years of their lives.
Yeah, Laura, this is 100% why I grabbed this video again, like, just to highlight, emphasize, because when you spoke about that, well, this is an instructional video, and the only, basically the main parts I want to show you is how they begin, the procedure of how they begin the session and how they end the session. And please, like, I'd love to hear you guys' feedback in the chat on this, in what you think about what Laura said, and when we have a look at this. So I sent the timestamp to you, T, but I don't know if you want to have a look back at that, or just maybe just scan ahead, and I'll kind of try and pinpoint. That's all good.
Yeah.
T, get your TR.
The start of the procedure. Yeah.
I'm just honestly listening to you guys talking about it. You know, it's just,
you kind of go down your own hole.
It's grooming, and
also on our last live,
instilling fear, and also so much pressure for a young child. You know, you don't have a childhood didn't have a childhood by the sound of it. You know,
and not only that, the child isn't allowed to ever be thinking like a child, and they're constantly reminded the moment they're acting or being like a child, even in a happy, cute way. It's like, okay, knock it off, get back to post.
Yeah,
it's a little childish. Like, either way you go, you're gonna be hypnotized. Either way you act, either way you try to be, you're gonna be hypnotized. And let's replace auditing with hypnotizing. When they say go in session, that means we're going to begin the hypnotizing session.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I got the timestamp. Should we play it?
Oh, perfect.
Play it? Yeah. Okay. All right. Here we go.
In step 1 of the procedure, the auditor assures the pre-clear that he will know everything that happens.
You will remain aware of everything which goes on. You will be able to remember everything that happens here. You can pull yourself out of anything which you get into if you don't like it.
Okay.
Good.
The second step is to have the pre-clear close his or her eyes.
Close your eyes. Good.
This puts the pre-clear into a state of light concentration called reverie. The pre-clear is simply putting his attention on himself and the auditor. In the third step, the auditor makes sure that anything she says during the session won't accidentally re-stimulate the pre-clear or act as a command over him at a later time. So the auditor makes an agreement with the pre-clear to cancel this from occurring.
In the future, when I utter the word canceled, everything which I've said while you're in a therapy session will be canceled and will have no force with you.
Oh my God, I need
Any
to put that
suggestion I've made to you will be without force when I say the word canceled. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good.
Sorry.
So first of all, like, all of that was just all hypnotic stuff. Like, when I say cancel, cancel. But as you were saying, Mirriam, that's exactly stimulating. They wouldn't let us read this book we're about to read. I feel so fucking strong about it. I don't know why. It's probably gonna be the dumbest thing ever. But anyways, they were saying that kids or even adults or people that don't know about auditing and can understand and handle the concept of past lives shouldn't be reading this book. That's the thing. Like, if you don't believe in the past lives thoroughly and fully, then you shouldn't be reading this book. Like, because then you're going to make fun of L. Ron Hubbard. Okay, that's all. Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, because I mean, it is just hypnosis.
Don't overstimulate
it. You're back in the room, you know, like you're going to count down from 10, and you're going to come out of your trance.
But even right now, she was just saying, and I'm gonna, and you're not, I'm not. You're going to be here the whole time, and I'm not. You're going to be conscious of everything, and it's really creepy. Like, she's literally saying things, and when I say end, you're going to end, but be here, whatever. Anyways, if you want to back it up a tiny, just hear what she's saying right now. It's so hypnotic. These are literal things that people who are professionally trained to hypnotize and put people in good hypnosis where they can heal and do things. This is what she's fucking doing, but on TV.
And the thing that what Hubbard said, what I believe, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, is that he said that everyone is already hypnotized. Everyone in the world is hypnotized, and this is unhypnotizing, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're coming to present time, correct. You're getting rid of the false information, and the only truth is L. Ron Hubbard. And
like all the
even explains like having
everything.
other religions, and you can have religions, you can, you know, and it's okay because we respect the other religious beliefs of others. He's so fucking full of shit. But he's only saying that to manipulate. Like that's literally what a narcissist would tell somebody that was religious to get them part of their religion. They would say, oh no, in our religion, it's like a narcissist, knowing that you couldn't, like knowing that person was going to take over your whole mind control anyways.
So he says the opposite to what is actually happening a lot of the time. Like a lot of the stuff he says is contradictory. I did a video about it the other day because I started studying the techniques he uses. And one of them was, I can't remember what it's called offhand now, but yeah, it's deliberately confusing. Then when you're confused like that, the brain goes into a certain state where it does and brain, like the easiest thing to do is to believe the weird shit. You know what I mean? I haven't explained that very well. Yeah.
T, did we lose your audio a bit there? You were sounding a bit muffled, and I don't know if that's me or... Did that come through okay for you, Laura?
No, it seemed like you were too far. Like it was getting lower and then in and out. Like I don't know if you have a canceling, a noise canceling thing.
Hello.
It sounds good. Perfect. It sounds good when you're up near the mic. I bet you might. Oops, sorry, I just muted myself. Haha.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Testing. Go fuck yourself. Okay, so
T, would you like to? Sorry, Laura. Just before we continue on, T, would you like to explain what you just said again? And then I would like to take a look at the word, the definition of the word reverie, and then let's replay this section. Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying that that I've been studying like the hypnosis techniques one by one, and I put up a video the other day, and so Hubbard, he says things that, you know, what he says is actually the opposite to what happens, but he does things on purpose. He says contradictory things to confuse you, you know, like say for example, religious freedom. I put examples on my video, but yeah, basically confusing the brain. So it goes into a state where cognitive dissonance will make you, like the easiest thing for your brain to do is to choose the weird shit, you know? So you have to believe
it's like the path of least resistance, basically, so that if you're being kind of bombarded, you're going to get overwhelmed and then follow the thing that is directing you to do something. So it's like, I can't think. It's like, I've got these two contradictory things. And what he does is he does it time and time again. Eventually, it just, what you were saying, what you learned, or what you were describing, which I thought was super, super interesting in this research, that that actually will make a person kind of follow the thing that they're being commanded to do because their brain functioning is actually being overwhelmed. Yeah,
I mean, you got to hand it to him on that like aspect of things. It's a perfected system of, you know,
I can't give him anything. I can't.
It's
give him
insane.
Anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hand this to him.
But yeah.
I love that.
Okay, so just listen to how hypnotic this is when she comes in.
But I just want for everyone, because before we do that, because she said that I'm going to put you in a state of reverie, and I want everyone to understand.
Reverie,
Can we just understand what reverie is? Because I think that's a good idea before we move on.
And that reminded me of what I was going to ask you, Mirriam. Is restimulate a Scientology word, or is that also a word used for something outside of Scientology?
Well, I don't know if it's used for something outside of Scientology.
Have you ever heard that?
But it's but for me, it's definitely Scientology.
I guess like a nurse could say, I'm re-stimulating the leg with electric.
Yeah, you wouldn't use
Laura,
it in a way.
I know you would say, I'm going to stimulate. You don't say,
what if
like when you're trying to stimulate something?
What if they stimulate? What if the nurse did it and then she was like, I'm going to re-stimulate?
I don't think they say that, though. It would be interesting to know, but
I don't know.
I don't think that's a thing.
Re-stimulated, don't re-stimulate them, you know. Are you re-stimulated? That was literally a word that was used all the time as young adults.
Right, so I look up the definition of re-stimulate. It says re-stimulate means to encourage something to grow, develop, or become active again.
Oh, when you re-stimulate a seed.
Yeah, or to cause a physical or biological process to start again.
Biological,
you know, so it's not.
Wow. So
it's not a trigger, is it? It's not what.
It's like rejuvenate or like renew or whatever.
Which is why how he twisted the word. He literally is saying, "Oh, don't stir it up again. Don't get it going. Don't bother them until they're in session. Once you're in session, you can re-stimulate it because you're in session."
And you can have access and do whatever the fuck you want. The door's closed. They can't leave until it's over. And then, let's go and find that thing. Yeah.
And then reverie. So it says a daydream refers to a state of being pleasantly lost in one's thoughts. It denotes a state of abstracted musing or contemplation, often characterized by fanciful or imaginative thoughts.
Oh, imaginative thoughts. Oh, well, who the fuck would have known? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, Exhibit A. So let's just, I'd love to hear that played now.
Okay. Oops. Sorry, I'm so slow.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Good.
In the fourth step, the auditor returns
maybe back it up. Sorry.
to a period in the past.
Yeah, Laura wanted
the pre-clear to go to the...
Okay,
do you understand?
Yes.
Good.
In the fourth step,
the auditor
session.
Yeah.
Let's go to like step one.
Will have no force with you. Back. Any suggestion I've made to you will be without force when I say the word cancel.
That's good. No.
Appointments and be there on time.
There. Keep going there. Where it is.
And by the way,
there.
Go back to the beginning.
Follow the auditor's code. You'll find it in your Dianetics.
Follow the auditor's code. You'll find it.
The auditor's role.
Oh, so... Sorry, I was going to say we caught a little bit of that, but we'll probably get to that later anyways. But she said, go back to the incident, go through it, whatever, paraphrasing, go through it again and pick up whatever additional data you can collect along the way. So literally, you're going to go over this imaginative story, and now we're going to pull in. This is what a writer will do. You guys, when a writer is writing a book and they're imagining the story, or if they're talking about a real story, they're going to go back to that story and they're going to pick up the information. But if you're going to create something and like you're going to pick up like, oh, I want to pull in from here. If I want to create a feeling of this, I want to set a mood. So I'm going to say that the light is low. The light cast a low glow over the horizon. You know what I mean? I'm going to, I can smell the salt. She caught a whiff of the salt water, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this is descriptive stuff.
Yeah.
When you're writing a fictional book, this is how you do it. Like, if I want the person, and you're pulling information. Sorry, let's go.
I found where it says
imagination. Thank you. Yes,
it's imagination. You use your imagination when you're writing stuff. It's, I don't know. Yeah, it's taking things and then twisting it into other things. Absolutely. I found the bit where it says revelry, but shall I just play it? Because it's 3 minutes, I think.
Yeah, play it.
I'm just sitting here casually eating my lunch, by the way. Sorry, guys.
So don't apologize, T. That's so rude to apologize.
I love quiche.
Okay, let's just go to the go to step one. Step one.
But even this, the auditor, I like you rehear this and look at. You can wait. Just press play. You can literally just press play.
We'll talk through it.
Because the moment you violate the code, will run into trouble.
Yes.
As
Did you
an auditor,
hear that?
Your job is to listen and to compute any trouble your pre-clear is having, and to help him get those engrams.
It really hurts.
Help him get those engrams.
I understand, but the only way out of it is through it. Please continue.
The only way out.
I hate that.
Now let's look at the 10 basic steps of a Dianetics auditing session in detail, so you can see exactly how it's done.
So listen to what she does here.
These are covered in the book Dianetics in chapter 5
I'm just gonna grab some water,
guys.
Section. Sorry.
Okay. Listen
the
to
steps are also laid out on a card listing out what to say and do at each step. The auditor can refer to this during the auditing session. It might help to follow along with the card as we go through this demonstration. In step 1 of the procedure, the auditor assures the pre-clear that he will know everything that happens.
You will remain aware of everything which goes on. You will be able to remember everything that happens here. You can pull yourself out of anything which you get into if you don't like it.
Okay.
Good.
The second step is to have the pre-clear close his or her eyes.
Close your eyes. Good.
This puts the pre-clear into a state of light concentration called reverie. The pre-clear is simply putting his attention on himself and the auditor. In the third step, the auditor makes sure that anything she says during the session won't accidentally re-stimulate the pre-clear or act as a command over him at a later time. So the auditor makes an agreement with the pre-clear to cancel this from occurring.
In the future, when I utter the word canceled, everything which I have said to you while you're in a therapy session will be canceled and will have no force with you. Any suggestion I have made to you will be without force when I say the word canceled. Do you understand?
The example she's giving.
Good.
In the fourth step, the auditor returns the pre-clear to a period in the past. Tell the pre-clear to go to the earliest moment of pain or discomfort.
Confused because she said therapy session, and normally
let's go to the earliest moment of pain or discomfort.
I think she's literally trying to cancel it in the future for therapy.
Now we come to the fifth step, working with the file clerk to get data.
Go to the auditor. Like she literally said, I think she said for future that they're using, like, you know, I don't know what people want to call it. Therapy, psychology, black magic, whatever it is. Yeah. They're using stuff that they know that visually in future therapy sessions, when anybody says cancel, it's going to make them snap out and get out of whatever they were just doing. Listen to what she just said.
Play. If she did say therapy, and if she did say therapy, I mean, then this points
therapy.
Right, and so this points to what we've been saying is like this is a false medical practice.
Yeah.
This is an unlicensed, unregistered, unrestricted, unregulated. Thank you. That was the R word I was looking for. Unregulated medical practice. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. No more interruptions. We need to get to
and that command. It's a command, isn't it? It's a hypnosis command. Like they usually like, oh, I'm going to count back down from 10, and then you open your eyes. You know, it's exactly the same as that. Okay, I'm going to play.
Yes.
Good.
In the fourth step, the auditor returns the pre-clear to a period in the past. Tell the pre-clear to go to the earliest moment of pain or discomfort.
Let's go to the earliest moment of pain or discomfort.
I was coming out of my mom's vagina and my head got stuck.
Now we come to the fifth step, working with the file clerk to get data. The auditor has the pre-clear re-experience the incident from beginning to end, describing it as he goes along. Tell the pre-clear to begin at the beginning.
Her vagina was really hairy, and I was coming out because it was like the 50s.
Recount it.
Recount simply means to describe what you're re-experiencing.
Go, Laura. Keep going. Like, make something up as he goes. It's hilarious.
And then I was like, is that my father? Oh, no. I want to go back in.
I'm really sick.
I'm feeling really sick right now and out of it.
In my room.
I feel like I'm going to get locked up in this butthole.
Notice that the pre-clear is describing everything as though it's happening right now in the present. This tells you he's returned to it, and not merely remembering it.
And my mom comes in and she feels my head.
The nurse comes in and
when you want
grabs
the pre-clear
my head.
To keep on going, say continue.
Come out of this vagina, and my head started to hurt from the nurse holding my head so hard. And ever since then, I've had chronic headaches.
Mom was trying to feed me something. I don't know what.
She was trying to feed me.
Ask the pre-clear questions to get data.
Make you autistic, don't
questions like, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Or what does she say? Will keep his attention on the scene and rolling through it.
It's so annoying. It must be an easier way for me to pause it from StreamYard.
Okay, so I just wanted to point out, what did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? Da da da. This is sensory information that we are now pulling into the recall. Now, you can have that available. So if you're talking about an incident that happened in this lifetime, cool. Like, you're looking at that incident, kind of makes sense. You're just like, oh yeah, and I tasted the tomato soup in my mouth, and da 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 da. This is the taste, and it smelled like tomatoes, and whatever. Those sensory things. But when they do
child dynamics, sorry, I love interrupt Mirriam because she knows how my brain works. She knows how I work. And when they do child dynamics, they're teaching you have your twin recall a picture of a cat. And so the kid goes, recall a picture of a cat. And now have the coach must coach and say, good. What color is the picture of the cat? The coach then becomes later in their childhood life an auditor. That's where it comes. The coach becomes the auditor. Flunk. Put that hand on my knee. Thank you. That's just how it becomes. You're being trained, and in the meantime, you're being called a coach and a twin and a coach, vice versa. You're always a coach or a twin. So anyway, long story short, kids are doing this and they're just doing it with a picture of the cat. And that goes all the way. Recall a time you raped somebody. It doesn't matter if it was this lifetime. Go to a time. What's that? That. So then they have the meter going that. And you're kind of going, well, if I had to recall a time, I don't know. I just got this image. What's that image? What are you thinking of? So the auditor gets you to spit out this thing, whether it's true or not. What is it? Whatever it is, we just need to handle it, clean it up. What is, it could be an evil purpose. It could be a da-da-da. It may not even be a real image. So they're just pulling up these supposed images and keeping you in this hypnotic state. The bridge to total freedom keeps you in this hypnotic state that they're showing you in the video. This is what you're doing all the way up to OTA and beyond. The whole time is you're keeping your TRs in, you're auditing, you're recalling times, you're writing them down every single time. If you're getting a sec check, if you're writing overts, if you're doing TRs, if you're doing communication drills, you are learning how to forget to think for your fucking self while being told you're learning to finally think for yourself for the first time in your life.
Yeah, and that's the contradiction, isn't it? Because it's the opposite. That's one of his contradictions.
Okay, so this is the program. That's why this is so important. Now, after this, the stories will come fast, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll show you the stories. All right.
So you get the idea now. We can actually skip ahead. I want to show you just how the session is ended. So basically, they go over it, you go over it, and then you go to earlier. Yeah.
I was going to go to the earlier vagina and then the earlier.
well, we can do that too. Let's play it for a bit longer. I was enjoying that.
Vagina and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
Suddenly.
I do think though that they do skip it up a bit. Oh yeah, you can put it on double speed or whatever. But I do think
double speed. Skip it up. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll do 1.5.
All right, but Laura needs to be able to tell her story there. She was saying it.
I'll be like, damn. Oh yes. This one time I was coming out of an elephant or
holding a bowl, a spoon. That's all there is. That's all I'm getting.
All right.
In step 6,
my mother handing me a
no charge remains.
It's so stupid.
Charge is the harmful energy stored in the engram. The auditor sees to it that all the painful or emotional energy in the engram is discharged. This is done by returning the pre-clear back over the incident many times until it no longer affects him painfully or emotionally, or until it seems to disappear. Have the pre-clear go back to the beginning of the incident and go over it again, picking up whatever additional data he can contact.
Go back to the beginning of the time. Go back to the beginning of the incident. And
it's so boring, though.
No, because some people really look. We're about to read. Have you lived before this life?
My mom comes in.
So they're going through it again, and she's asking for additional information in the incident. So now he has to look for more. He's got to pull more information into this.
And so he's like, okay, so she's coming down. Oh, she's wearing a blue sweater. Notice how they made the blue sweater more obvious, and it's a spoon handle too. He's like, I'm getting hot now.
He's experiencing a physical condition contained.
Oh, now I'm remembering the time I burned my stupid tongue. Wow, that's all this goes somatic. I'm getting hot.
Okay.
Recall an earlier time.
Pick up whatever
I was having sex with a guy last lifetime.
And I'm huddled underneath the covers.
Each time the pre-clear goes through the incident, its negative influence.
And I was getting real hot and bothered.
You're so hot.
You're so hot.
See?
So hot.
One time I was fucking my mom last lifetime.
It just makes me feel
like, guys, this is a real thing.
This
is a real thing, though. That's literally like what they. Why are they not showing that? Mirriam, why are they not showing an example of when that actually has come up in auditing sessions where other children and parents were told that, oh, I was your grandpa, you know, last lifetime. This was normal. No, it's weird for me to say that on the internet, on YouTube.
What do you see?
But this is why it's so fucking vile for Scientology to teach the beginnings of how to audit and manipulate somebody's mind in such like a PR way through a video like this. Like how they're talking. This is not even how a pre-clear would react in a real auditing session. The pre-clear would be having real symptoms, like fucking going through crazy ass shit, like Lisa McPherson, who died from a fucking untaken care of blood clot or whatever. Unfair. Like, anyways, wow, I'm good on a roll. But it's because the TRs and the communication all.
Sometimes the pre-clear doesn't become cheerful about it, despite many recountings.
I didn't realize the reason I
understand.
Yeah. Anyways,
go back to the beginning and go over it again.
Therefore,
they got a sense of her face too. Little glam, you know, all exciting and glamorous.
He's not becoming more cheerful about it. Then there's an earlier moment of a similar nature that must be found.
Earlier?
That must be found. That must.
Earlier similar.
You can't leave without saying, see, there's the chain. Oh, this is where he fell on this bike. Oh, that picture was done at the ranch.
In the womb. Hang on, Laura.
In the womb. There we are. Have you lived before this life?
I don't think I'm getting anything new here.
All right.
Therefore, if an incident doesn't reduce after many recountings, ask, is there an earlier incident like this?
Is there an earlier? Earlier than the womb? Huh?
Have him go to the earlier incident and recount it, starting at step 5. Tell the pre-clear to begin at the beginning and recount it.
Begin at the beginning and recount it.
Okay, pause just there, just for 1 second, because I just want to say, you see how she wasn't going to release him out of the session until he recalled an earlier incident. Now, he traced it all the way back to the womb. And it's like, oh, the incident is not reducing. There's still charge there. There's still some emotion kind of connected to it. So we got to find the earlier one. And this session cannot stop until he finds the earlier one.
Well,
just so that everyone understands the frame.
And she says, wait. She says, fuck. First, the earlier thing was you are forbidden. They literally says you're forbidden to not find the earlier similar, whatever, right? And then the other thing is that I fucking forgot that I was just about to say is that as that's going on, you're forbidden to do it. So and she says, then the next thing is to find an earlier similar like this. So now it goes to, okay, like this. It doesn't have to be this image or me doing something this lifetime or anything like that. It's just, what is the image you're getting that's like this, that is causing this like, hot, itchy feeling, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that also changes the simple wording of like it again brings you back into the imaginative. What is like this, or what felt like this?
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not sure.
Okay. What do you see?
I don't see anything, just blackness.
Okay. What do you hear?
Besides the voice, I hear coughing, gagging, something like that.
What?
I'm getting a headache.
I think he's in the womb right now.
Please continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it, really. That's all.
I mean,
okay. Go back to the
maybe
beginning.
his parents were having sex while he was in the womb, and he was getting a headache.
This is something that
the penis
that is something that has been recalled. Yes, in
I heard
Dianetics.
that. I heard that.
I think it's in the book Dianetics too.
Says,
okay.
He's saying, "You look terrible. Are you okay?" And a woman says, "No, I'm sick. I'm so sick." And I hear coughing, gagging.
This is sick.
I get the sense that she's crying. Look, I can't do this.
It's all right. What's the somatic?
I feel pressure, like I'm being compressed. I feel pressure on my head right here. But I don't see anything.
I think he's in the womb.
I can't do this.
The umbilical cord.
Please continue.
When an engram is contacted with auditing, the pre-clear will dramatize its contents, just like he did when it was restimulated in life. He'll speak and act in a modified version of the engram. So just remember, those are engrams talking, not your pre-clear.
See, he's like kind of getting into the fetal position there.
It's important to note that the pre-clear himself never resists auditing. The only thing which resists are the engrams. So if the pre-clear swears or moans or weeps or pleads,
I can't do this.
Don't quit. Don't get angry. Just follow the auditor's code and kindly
don't
persist.
Quit.
What do you hear?
Don't get angry. Just follow the auditor's code.
Woman. But that's my mother. That's her voice. Oh, this must be a prenatal.
Okay.
Oh, it's prenatal. Yeah,
it's
prenatal. This. He's in the womb.
Like, that's what she's saying. She's saying I can't do this. Oh, I bet this is morning sickness. She's crying. She's saying, I hate this. I hate being pregnant. Look,
okay, we can probably fast forward to get to that end step, T, because we definitely get the idea now.
So these sessions like this would go on for 8 hours a day, and then you take a break and go in session the next day when you're well fed and well slept again.
The pre-clear is in the middle of an engram.
Yeah, sometimes take a break to get a tiger's milk bar.
Go on to step 7.
Or two or
get a tiger's milk bar.
To come to present time.
I want one of those.
Come to present time.
Oh, yes.
You want to be sure.
No, wait, just before this, T.
So in step 8, you ask him.
That's all. My headache's starting to go away.
Good.
Okay.
Go back to the beginning and go over again. Pick up whatever additional data you can contact.
No. Go forward.
I hear my dad saying.
Find that end step. They do it.
This is a good time to end off. To end the session,
there you go.
Start
on
to
here.
step 7. The auditor now has to tell the pre-clear to
come
to present time.
That was it.
Come to present time.
Thanks, T.
Okay.
That's it.
The pre-clear is in present time. So in step 8,
no. There's a step.
Are you in present time?
Yes.
No. She does a countdown. She does a countdown. She snaps her.
So that nothing in the session will act as a
command maybe this is
suggestion to him at a later time. This is step 9.
Cancelled.
The auditor should now restore the pre-clear's awareness of his surroundings.
Okay.
This is step 10 and is the final step of the procedure.
When I count from 5 to 1 and snap my fingers, you will feel alert. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There you have it. That was a
Is that not
demonstration
hypnosis?
shown with all of...
I mean...
Yeah. So, I mean, can I just ask, so somebody just said, hang on, so with kids doing this, we've got to get them all out. What age would a child be doing a session like this? Like book 1, would you do book 1 first, or
7, 8 years old?
So and you can be
do it earlier.
Book 1. You could be receiving it. For example, my mother was auditing me on it when I was like 4 or 5, trying to do little versions of it.
Yeah,
it's once you have language.
Mace Kingsley, they audit them from like I've seen one baby 3 weeks old. They were auditing, you know.
Well, they
imagine
can't do
like
Dianetics. Hang on.
brainwashed
Let me just say this. They cannot do Dianetics on a 3-month-old baby. So it's once they have language, they can do Dianetics. However, they can do other things on babies. They will run sessions, assists, whatever on babies, but they can't say, can you really recall? And then they say, oh yeah, it's just this
exactly
happened.
I was wondering how that works. Like,
right.
You know.
So, but there's but to that person's point, I think probably what they meant is that there are other, and Laura was saying that too, like there are other versions of things. There's other types of auditing. Yeah, the child Scientology.
And the whole point of the TRs and communication is that the TRs and the communication, child TRs and communication drills are smaller versions leading up to this. This is getting a child to literally accept this as a natural way and state of being to its utter, path to freedom. This is the way you're going to have to always do it. And then imagine, right, as you're doing this for so long, for so many years, you go in session, you already know as a pre-clear how you're supposed to act. You just already in hypnotic.
You don't know any different.
Can't move, not allowed to do it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's also a thing you're supposed to study. There's also a thing they're supposed to study, which is like the pre-clear's hat. So it tells you what your job is in the session, and that you all the rules and like what you have to do. But what does it say is this starts early. This idea of like run it until it reaches that end result. Do not stop. Persist. Make sure you persist. Do not quit until you reach the end result. Is it comes back into these really, really basic forms, which are done on the smallest of children and whatever, is like a contact assist. Like that doesn't barely even need language, right? Because it's literally like touch it back. Okay, touch it back. Or like, and we run it through until we keep doing it until we get the end result. Same thing in a locational. We're going to keep doing this. Same thing. So all these basic assists, I remember starting to learn them from 7 years old. What about you, Lara?
4 years old. 4 years old, like the same. Yeah, just always knowing contact. The kids at the cadet ranch were doing like contact. I have pain on my hand.
Everyone
would be like literally like, you're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to make any sound. You're not allowed to make any like big move. You're not supposed to be making movements. So all you do is like, you go like, we were told to go.
Okay,
like this.
Lara, let's just play that out. Just play that out real quick. Lara and I will be like chit-chatting. T's going to hurt herself. Let us know you hurt yourself so that we know, and then we'll do what us kids like. Let's say we're playing patty cake. What is patty cake?
What is patty cake?
Like that.
It's an American thing, isn't it? Oh, you just like
people do it all over the world.
The first time I heard about that was in Roger Rabbit. Have you seen the Roger Rabbit movie? And they're going,
yes,
and rabbits like having an affair or something, and they're playing patty cake. And I don't know what the hell's patty cake. So
okay, so then you hurt yourself. You have to hurt yourself really quick.
Oh, okay.
And Laura and I are just like playing. What's this? This is what we do. You can't.
And the person's there, like, so what you would be doing is like touching your arm back where you hurt yourself. just going like that, touching it back, exactly how you did it when you heard it. Like, oh, I must have hit it this way. Okay, like
on my finger. Like if my finger was hurting, you'd come and touch my finger. Or like,
no, you would touch your finger to the thing that hurt you.
That's
okay. It was my microphone, so I just like
So when now shh, we're gonna be quiet, and now you're gonna touch it back, and when it starts to feel better, let us know.
I'm not gonna do it, man, because it still hurts. Because it doesn't fucking work.
Continue. Keep return to the assist. Continue going.
Why do you have to do this? Is it
contact?
Because we're telling everyone around us you have to be
like
silent.
Sign language. When you hurt yourself, you're not allowed to make a noise.
So you don't add more images and sound to the engram, so it lessens the engram of your finger hurting. And when you're having
and then you just say
better, you let us know.
You say, I feel better. We're telling everyone around us that there's a contact in session.
Like everybody needs to be quiet. Shh, shh, shh.
Okay, I'm over it now. It's better.
Okay,
Thanks.
back to work. Back to work.
Like we'll just go back to whatever activity. It's like everyone like is quiet, and then it's like, then it just everything restarts.
Okay,
it could be a room of like 100 Sea Org members, and they would all have to be quiet while somebody did a touchback.
Okay, so what if I cut my finger and I'm like pissing out blood? What if I've like cut my finger and pissing out blood, like squirting?
No, you get it wrapped first.
Problem at first, and then go back and touch it back,
and then go and do it.
So that this engram is nothing.
Okay.
So like if you burnt your arm on a hot grill, you would go and get, that medically attended to. Then you would come back to the grill, not hot. It would be off, cool. Then you would touch it back, so
that the image, when now you see a grill, you're not always thinking, oh, I'm going to burn myself. You go back, which sort of makes sense in the brain, but as this being the norm for everything that all these things are, L. Ron Hubbard has this technology, and all of this is part of this technology, which leads to OTA and beyond.
The idea was that words that are said in pain and or unconsciousness could be then get stuck in your mind and then gets re-stimulated, and then it reactivates against you at a later time. That's why when someone is doing this touchback as well, you don't want to insert any language into memories or into this like conscious this conscious state. Like you can insert it. Yeah, when it has to do with pain and or unconsciousness, you can insert language, which is why they say like be silent at birth.
But with that one,
Snaketology said so you redo it without pain, so that's how you remember it. No, you're erasing the memory of the painful incident. You're getting rid of it so that you're now can address the oven and the stove like, oh, well, next time I'm going to be responsible, make sure it's all off, and I'm not going to burn myself because now I'm so aware and I'm not stuck in the past of all the times that I've burnt myself on a stove. You're now in present time, and you're now not letting the reactive mind. You're now not, I've made up my reactive mind, and I'm going to stop doing that. And that's the end result of clear, but you spend a lot of money on it and a lot of psycho fuckness. I don't even know what you call that. But then you also are spending your life, and your permanent belief system becomes Hubbard's writings. Yeah, so if you're bitten by a shark, you should go back and touch the shark. Technically, you need to figure that out, but yes, you would have to go do that.
I love that you said that you would need to figure that out. Absolutely. So you'd go back to the ocean, you go in the water. Oh my God. You'd probably have to have like a substitute shark to be honest, like fair, like you'd have to.
You do, you need auditing, mate. That's what
you would probably have to wrap a real life shark jaw thing to really run.
But yeah, Mads, that's auditing. I think anything that any kind of feels in your head is auditing their engrams, aren't they? But physical, like hurting your finger and stuff, you got to go and touch a shark or whatever. Yeah,
I mean that would just be how it was.
In that thing that we were watching, so in that thing we were just watching before. Okay. Oh, sorry, you go, T. Yeah.
I'm just saying, in regards to touching the stove. My son touched the front of the, like the oven door gets hot, and he touched it. When he was little, and he never fucking touched it again because it bloody hurt. Like,
the opposite.
Well, the other thing is like fucking dumb L. Ron Hubbard. Hello. Like a mother teaches, like, I'm the one who runs the stove because I can adjust and turn the buttons and you can't. And when you can, you'll know to not fucking touch the stove because you can see what the fucking shit does. It's just so
do things that are like really obvious, but make it look and sound all magical, you know. But it's like just sort of
like turn on. Oh, can you make a cake? Yeah, sure. Turn on the oven. And did you know that you are starting that oven? And did you know that your energy is putting that fire into the flame? And did you know that you are creating this pancake on this? It's like so like bullshit. Yeah, okay.
So how this language comes into it, like that example that I was showing where the guy was going through these similar, he traced it back to when he was in the womb and the mother was having, morning sickness, right? And she says, I feel so sick. And so this got stuck in his, like, in this memory bank, and he then was suffering from a series of like chronic illness, and then he traced it back to the time when he was in the womb and the mother had said that she was sick. So that's the language part of where like you're trying to find these things and make sure they're not activating on you any longer. Yeah,
right. Wild.
All right. I think we can jump to the book now.
Yeah. If there's some introduction of the book.
Hang on, about
introduction of the book.
Is there some introduction of the book?
Oh yeah, introduction. Yeah.
Yeah, you want me to read the introduction in the book?
I just want to just see what if I was a brand new person in the outside world and I happened to pick this up in the library randomly. Like, how have you lived before this life? What is this? Yeah. Let's just read what somebody would read if they picked up the book.
Yeah, well, there's many different types of introductions. I mean, there's like
let's just read it. Maybe it's normal, maybe it's not. I don't know. I just have never read the book.
Well, this is the one. Well, me and Miriam kind of briefly looked through it, and this was like the well, it's not so the easiest one.
Just pop it up. Pop it up. Yeah. Let's not overthink it. It is the one that says introduction. So let's do that.
Introduction. Go.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I make it bigger?
Yeah. Who has a good voice? You do.
Me? I can read it if you want. Oh shit. Hang on.
Yes.
Okay. Introduction. Who are you? Have you lived before? What is your name? Say your name over to yourself a few times. Say it over and over. Come on, say it some more. Now say your name a few more times. Now say it a few more just to make sure of it. That is right. Better go back and do it a few more times if you missed. All right. Now let's ask it again. Who are you? Where did you really come from? How do you know you haven't lived before? Like what? Dianetics techniques indicate that you have, and Dianetics, which has revealed so much to the Western world, comes up now with this strange datum. You are you, but you may have lived elsewhere under another name without even suspecting it yourself. Curious, isn't it, that a top-flight science would tell you, Mr. and Mrs. Modem, that not all the answers to everything were yet known. Scientific experiments undertaken in the past few months strongly indicate that birth was no beginning. 70 persons, wholly without hypnotism, were tested, and 70 out of 70 showed evidence of having lived before. When Dianetics started the Bridey-Murphy craze, conservative practitioners were justifiably upset. Only in the hands of an expert is it safe to remember past lives. Now, conservative Scientology practitioners have studied this newest Dianetics craze. Their findings are to be found in this book.
Okay, T, can I say something?
Yeah.
Do you want to bring us back?
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, so that procedure, everyone knows, that whole procedure that we just ran through, that's Dianetics processing, which is what this book is based on. And this thing of like saying that you're like hypnotizing someone and saying that it's not hypnotism is like the same as being in a relationship with someone and saying, I never said I was in a relationship with that person.
Sorry, that's very relevant for this week, but yeah, sorry.
It sure is.
Sorry for the dig.
But like,
sorry, I had
also,
to get that in there.
Totally. But also, did you see this? 70 out of 70 showed evidence of having lived before. So he's saying 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to so this
100%.
Yeah, right.
It's
well, because
crazy.
they've got to put all the numbers in and make it, I don't know.
Oh,
yeah,
whatever. That's him.
It's silly.
So there's a bunch of, so just to summarize here, there's a whole bunch of these like, there's like different weird things at the front of this book. Then it moves to the actual case studies, and the cases are numbered. We haven't reviewed it like to go and pick through which ones we were going to do. So let's just jump to like case 1, and we can just, if they look.
I just clicked it off. Oh no.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll just have a look at them and then pick which ones we want to read out.
I mean, I clicked it off my tab, so now I have to find it again.
That's all right. Laura, do you want to say anything while T's looking for that?
Yeah, I have to go to history.
So these are, like he says, these are stories that are pulled from from auditing. This book is old, so from auditing sessions. These are allegedly, right? I mean, they're coming from. Like, these are their stories. It almost sounds like Law and Order.
Yeah.
And these are their stories. These came directly from Scientology auditing pre-clears from past lives, and these are their stories. That these are like, this is, we'll see what we're gonna hear, but even some of them are like the idea that somebody would be deeply programmed this far, literally, to get to this point, to think that this was one of their biggest wins, was to find this past life story.
So that's why you're not allowed to read it, because basically you're not allowed to read it until you're like up there in the bridge where you're doing this sort of stuff, because otherwise you'd think, what the hell is this weird shit? I'm out. Like, it's kind of like, it's
right.
Yeah.
T, let's move ahead to the case numbers, the cases.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'll get the like index thing, and you can pick one.
Perfect. So everyone can see that there's all this.
Case 1.
So cases 1 to 42.
Okay, so wait, go back. Yeah, read it from the beginning.
There.
Right here. So
reports on cases 1 to 42, but there was like a list.
Don't worry about that, T. Just
right here.
Let's go into the cases. This is case number 1.
Oh, wow.
Former condition. Right?
Who wants to read it?
Oh, and physical improvement. Okay, I see. I was just kind of seeing what it said before and after. Okay, go ahead. No, you do it. I like your guys' accents.
Okay. Mirriam, do you want to have a go?
I'll just jump into it. Okay. Pre-clear case number 1. Former condition. Not certain that I was able to audit. Not willing to state my opinion, although I knew I was right. Letting a counter-intention overwhelm me and take me off cause point. So this is the person who's receiving this processing. This is their condition where they were at. Mental outlook. I am now more confident and sticking to my own decisions. I'm now more certain and right than I ever was before. Physical improvement. Need less sleep. Body less tired. Oh, wow. Okay, so now we can like function. Yeah. This person is prime for labor. What you attribute improvement to. Auditing a pre-clear, being audited, having my buttons pushed, confronting the postulates made in the engram. So the engram is the mental image pictures that is being processed. The engram. While exercising the pre-clear in facing up to things. Okay. Right. While exercising the pre-clear and facing up to things, a process on confronting, I noticed that she became very upset and uncooperative. That's the auditor notes. And then she became very upset. No, that's good. Let me keep going there. She became very upset and uncooperative when questioned. She remarked that it was like being questioned by the police. She didn't like it. Later in the course, we were locating with the aid of an e-meter. Wow, so this is early e-meter. The details of various painful experiences. Whilst doing this, I asked the pre-clear for the date of an incident which involved questioning. This was revealed by questioning and interpretation of the meter reactions, which is what we said, that's what Laura said, as having occurred 651 years ago.
Wow.
And there were indications of other painful experiences at intervals over the previous 20 years. Eventually, this was the incident selected as responsible for the Preclear's difficulties in this current life, and we proceeded to work on it. Little by little, pictures came to mind of stone. Little by little, you see that process of pulling things. Stone walls, straw, a flagstone, and grass around it. A monk, a naked body of a handsome white-haired man stretched on the rack. This is case number 1, guys.
Wait, read it slower. What the heck? Okay. I know you're getting nervous or something, but like, no. I'm going to start reading it.
A naked body of a handsome white hair.
I didn't think I was reading.
No, it was like you're like really. I guess you're like really you're used to reading. So I like.
Okay, let me slow it down. That's all right. Let me do this, Laura. Do not bypass me, okay?
Okay, just go a little bit before and
you can read the next one if you want.
God part or like the white man, whatever.
Yeah. So little by little, pictures came to mind of stone walls, straw, a flagstone, and grass around it. A monk, a naked body of a handsome, white-haired man stretched on the rack. Now, the rack is a torture device. It's a medieval torture device. The Preclear recognized that she was that man at that time and went through a period of grief. As she confronted the things that had been done to that person, his ability and high station in life, she realized that her present unwillingness to accept responsibility and make good use of her abilities were due to the sufferings of that previous life when she had been highly intelligent and capable. Although she could not see the rack, she could hear the creak of the wheel turning as the body was stretched. As the process was continued by asking the Preclear, what part of the incident can you confront? She got more and more details of her surroundings at different periods of time. When something unpleasant came up, she would get angry and doubtful of the incident before confronting it. Then you see how the auditor is pushing her? She would become angry and doubtful, like, no, I don't think this is a thing. I don't think this is a thing. And then the auditor will push them.
Before confronting it, yeah.
A scene gradually, piece by piece, unfolded of a part of the incident prior to stretching on the rack, where the man was subjected to torture by means of the thumb screw. You guys, this is case number 1 that I was reading as a kid. Like, this is legit. Okay.
I just want to quickly say, sorry, Mirriam, to interrupt you. If anyone has any comments or questions, if you could write in capital letters at the beginning of the comment, like just put in capital letters, either comment or question. And I'm sort of trying to go through and pay attention to these lovely ladies and what is being read. And I will try my best to star them and go through them at the end, okay? All right, sorry. Please continue.
Okay. And so are you guys wanting me to just like keep reading through the whole thing and I can just do it, like don't stop? Yeah, is that your preference?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, how long are they?
Okay. As you're going.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it big enough for you, Mirriam? Do you want me to make it a bit bigger?
Yes, it's perfect. No, it's good. Thank you, T.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So there was this earlier incident where the man was subjected to torture by means of the thumb screw. Can you scroll it up a bit, please? Yeah. I'm on page 16. Yeah. At this, the Preclear was waving her hands about, but became very angry when I told her to hold the e-meter can still. Oh my God. Just like, hold still. And she's like, I'm being tortured.
Because you have to. That's what's crazy is you have to keep the can still. For her to go through freedom, she has to keep her fucking hands still and not move.
The way forward is the way through, or whatever it was. Yeah. It's terrible.
She became very angry when I told her to hold the e-meter can still. And when I repeated this, she said, I'll kill you if you make me hold them still. I asked her, who made you keep your hands still? And she answered, the monk, and then broke down and cried. After this, the Preclear could see a heavily built soldier standing outside administering the thumb screw under the direction of the monk, who was sitting opposite the man across a large table in the large hall, as I was sitting opposite her during the auditing session. She was seeing me as the monk directing the torture. Pictures came up of the scene on the beach, a ship at sea, a date of time mark in the sand, and a man's figure standing on the sand and then driving a camel across the sandy waste. Eventually, it was discovered that the man was waiting for the ship. Later, it came that the man was captured by 4 steel helmeted soldiers, one of whom first read out the proclamation from a scroll. What happened next was quite unreal for a number of hours of processing, and different parts of the whole incident came into view. A night spent in a small cell, a man sitting at a desk near a shop window within view of the wharf and ship, the man talking to a bearded wise man with a long grey robe tied with a cord. The man handcuffed and mounted on a grey horse in front of a drawbridge over a moat, stone steps, a soldier leading the man up curved steps to a cell and carrying a candle to light the way. The man sitting eating a bowl of soup, the man on the rack face downwards, whilst the soldier takes a whip off the wall and prepares to whip him. At this time, the actual whipping could not be confronted. Soldiers dragging the body across the roof of the castle and throwing it into the sea. A scene came up of eyes being put out with red-hot tongs, and this was found to belong to another life altogether. It only came up once. So he witnessed his own death. Oh, she witnessed the death of her previous lifetime.
And she was a man in her, so she was a man in her previous life.
Yeah. The pre-clear was becoming rather confused, and particularly when the thumbscrew period was confronted. With some difficulty, it was discovered that the man was drugged and hypnotized at this time. The hypnosis was started in a cell by a candle flame being held in front of the man's eyes. Then the man was carried into the hall and given a glass of wine in which was a drug. Then further hypnotized when the thumbscrew was applied and a suggestion instilled. The actual words that were spoken had not been confronted by the end of the course, but the pre-clear knew that these were such as to leave the man thoroughly confused and subject to other people's will.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to keep up.
No, that's all right.
With the comments as well. Because I haven't got anyone that can star them because my mod's mad and he hasn't got StreamYard. Where did you go? Oh, yeah, you're in that comment.
Okay. Whilst confronting this period, the pre-clear's eyelids were fluttering continuously, and she was swaying about in her chair as though in a trance. However, as she confronted it better and better, these manifestations wore off. After this, the pre-clear could re-experience and confront more easily the pain and sound in the incident, and scenes and pictures, rather than just still ones. She also felt much brighter. The next part to come up was when the man was still free. There was a pretty, fair-haired girl who he wanted to marry, but for some reason, which couldn't be decided, it was no use trying. Pre-clear recognized that this was often the way she acted in her present life when things got difficult. When this part, which included the girl, came up, we checked if it included the torture incident, as the scenery had not been encountered before. However it was, there seemed to be some confusion as to the date of the incident, and it was discovered that the pre-clear was setting the time of the incident according to the time of 2 different calendars. By one, the date was 1700 BC, and by the other, scroll up, please.
Sorry.
Page 17.
Yeah.
And by the other, sorry, I don't know what the last line was, but yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
And by the other, no, that's all good. And by the other, by the lunar calendar, it was 6,571 years ago.
Yeah.
Scenes had been on a hill with a girl, and in a bedroom with her, and of a king upon a throne, being given the king's black ring, and rows of soldiers came up. Then a banquet at which the girl's engagement to the king was announced. The man was tricked into and later defeated in a duel, after which he was taken to a tent to rest. All this part was rather sketchy, and the emotion was not comfortable at the time, although pain was felt in the elbow which was run through by a sword in the duel. By confronting thoroughly the girl, the king, and the girl's father one at a time, this part became much clearer. An earlier part where the man, the girl, and her father were in a ship came up, and pre-clear experienced some of the seasick feeling that the man had on board the ship. This all became rather unreal, and the sequence of events confused. The pre-clear was showing embarrassment at being questioned, which I feel like this is going to get sexual. Is anyone getting that vibe? I don't know. Okay. The pre-clear was showing embarrassment at being questioned. When it was found that the period in the incident was when the man was embarrassed when the torture on the rack was taking place, it was decided that this part of the incident needed more attention. The pre-clear was then got to confront the body of the man little by little, and this was quite difficult as the picture would fade out and become unreal. Each time this happened, she was brought to confront a few hairs on the right leg, and from this she got the body more and more real. After each period of unreality, some more pain or unconsciousness would be confronted, re-experienced, and run off, at which the whole body was fairly confrontable, and the pre-clear could confront it without consequence. A window, a door, a wall, and then another wall, and then another wall were confronted many times each. Much the same phenomena were observed when confronting these, except on the last wall, which was the one the man was facing as he lay on the rack. While confronting the pre-clear, re-experienced and confronted the actual death and exteriorization from the body, and going up into space, coming down again, and staying near the body until after it went to the bottom of the sea, then going away into space again. The next picture was of a baby's body, the next life. Continuing and confronting the same wall, she went through quite a lot of pain and unconsciousness, emotion, etc., and got 3 postulates. So those are like thoughts or decisions, and these are what they are. I've got to get out of here. I can't bear it any longer. It's too late now. I'm dying. And I'm free at last. A discussion on these brought to her awareness that these decisions had been having a considerable effect on her present life. She would feel compelled to get out when things got difficult, put on an act of pretending she was lying when she felt embarrassed or silly, and did not like to be tied down or in any way have her freedom restricted. Continuing on confronting that wall, it completely faded out, and I got her to confront the door in the cell for a while until she could see the wall again. After confronting the wall again a number of times, she re-experienced the effort and pain of having her right arm stretched. When this wore off, she was less nervous and her hands had ceased perspiring, which they had been doing throughout most of the processing. Later, she realized that her embarrassment had been due to the monk and one or more soldiers affronting her right to die alone by watching her die on the rack. It was only at the last that she failed to put on a good front, and this left her ashamed and embarrassed.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I'm like, I get lost. I read the same bit over and over again. I'm not very good at reading long stuff. But yeah.
Okay, so I'll read this last bit here.
James and Paris covering, yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. The details of the incident were not complete by course end, but it was known that the pre-clear was a man of high station, education, and intelligence, had lived an adventurous life, which included life at court, soldiering, and politics. There were indications that this man was the king's brother, but was not particularly favored by the king, whom he called a tyrannical fool. The man was tricked in challenging the king to a duel in honor of the king's engagement at the banquet to the former's mistress. Another swordsman took the king's place.
It sounds like Gladiator.
And this sounds like just all those movies are coming to mind, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, medieval, the King's Men, the King's Guard, Game of Thrones comes to mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
After this, the king arranged for his exile to another land. However, the man was arrested on the beach and taken to the castle, where he was drugged, hypnotized, and cruelly tortured with a thumbscrew by whipping and stretching on the rack. Although there was still quite a lot more work to be done to completely dispel the effects of this incident, the pre-clear was, by the end of the process, observably calmer, more self-assured, more cooperative, prettier, her skin much clearer, and her body movements were more graceful.
Wow.
Sure.
Big wins.
And when you come out of a session like this, I've heard a lot of people say that they have this euphoria you know? Because I can imagine if you're in there for hours, right, and you go through stuff, and there's stuff that's like really distressing, you're not allowed to leave the room, and traumatic, you could be having a bit of a breakdown, crying and all of that, but you have to stay there and go through it. The way out is the way through.
And this is what you come up with.
And what's the next one? I'm crying. I'm absolutely exhausted afterwards. I don't know if that's because I'm autistic or whatever, but it's freaking like you have an emotional hangover, not euphoria. How does that happen?
I think exhaustion.
Yeah,
I think exhaustion is good.
Yes, I can get the fuck out of here now.
Well,
that's how it was sometimes.
Yeah, but also let me say this, like we're talking about hypnosis, and what this person's saying is that they were more cooperative, they were observably calmer. Like I think if you're being put further and further into a hypnotic state,
submission
like,
as well, isn't it? You know,
right? Isn't that the result that you're going to get? I don't know. That's my. Should we go on to the next one?
Yeah, so that's case one. They don't just do like a summary at the end so you can just get the story. You have to go through the whole thing.
No, we won't read that whole thing on the rest of them, but that was just to give you guys a good idea. We can just jump straight to the engrams. So
yeah, there's a couple. Can I just go for a couple of little comments just so that I don't have heaps left at the end? So we've got so Kelly at the beginning. I don't know if you're still there, Kelly. She said, so these are just basically made up stories. Well, I guess, but the person who's doing it that believes in this. Well, I mean, they believe in it, and so it's
I mean, this is literally, guys. Mirriam and I and all the other children have been asking ourselves this our whole childhood, non-childhood. We've been asking ourselves, have we lived before this life? Are these stories real? Have we lived before this life? Have we lived before? We're just gonna keep like, hello. We don't know. Are these stories real or made up? I don't know. We don't know.
So another person asked if any of us are spiritual. So do you, like, now looking back as an adult, do you think what a load of shit this was? Or are you still kind of, there's a part of you that's like, was it real? Was it, you know? What do you think? Are you spiritual
Laura,
at all?
Do you want to go?
The first question, are you spiritual?
I just ate a chip, but I'm very, you see, but even spiritual is in a box now. I'm very
religious. Are you religious? Are you religious at all? I guess. Like,
do I call myself a certain thing? No.
Do you believe in a higher power?
Do you believe in a thing called love? I believe in a power of life and like nurturing and growth and being here with a purpose to enjoy and learn from life, and everything is learning, so we should never be resenting it. Like, you know, the comments right on my face, so you can't see my face.
I know. I can't see Laura at all. Sorry. So the whole time she's talking, she's like,
"Can we not put it, you know, like in a different way?"
It's okay. I was like, I guess I could be eating chips, but they'll hear me.
Oh, no.
So there you go, Perth.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't even see that you were eating a chip, Laura. Sorry when I put you on the spot there, so I apologize about that. But yeah, I mean, I would say similar to Laura, but I would say, you know, and I would say to add, I believe in a sense of spirituality, energy, like a life force. You know, higher power. I believe that, you know, there's energy out there, that there's a connection between, you know, living beings, I guess, or living
like I people. Believe in believe. Isn't believing already saying that you're agreeing to lie about something because you're not 100% about it? So what I do believe, if we want to talk about that, I do believe that there's energy and life in living things, and through that we are all living and alive through a big energy system. Yes.
I agree with that. I don't believe that you can recall a past life. I don't believe that you retain memories and mental image pictures from previous lifetimes and carry them wherever you go. I like, that's no. I think that is a scam, and I think it's an effort to maximize the amount of hours that you can charge and receive money for. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and would you lie? Would you make up stuff to get through it? Like, if there's nothing there,
So if I can answer this question first, I'll just jump in. Because I don't know about Lara, but I have recalled past lives in like Dianetics and in Scientology sessions. And I remember the first time that this happened, and like we've described, like this disbelief of like, I don't think that that's a thing. And I think that's just my imagination. And then the auditor was like, well, what do you see? Well, what do you see? Like, and just keep pushing you. And I'm like, okay, well, like describe it to me. And okay, well, I see like this, and like you're describing something, and then they're like, okay, and then they just like keep going with it. Okay, and then they try and pull in more information, more like, what do you smell? What do you what do you hear? And it becomes, in what this incident that we, or this the pre-clear that we just covered in this case number 1, how it started to become more real. It becomes more real and more real the more you go over it and more you go over it. So you, next minute, you believe that could have possibly have happened. But I do recall other times where I didn't say like, oh, I think this is my imagination. But I do remember, for example, this one time where I was asked to locate a suppressive person, and I said, it's this person, like, because I already knew like who was affecting me in my life. And they said, oh, it can't be that person, find someone else. And I was like, well, it isn't anybody, like, but I was just a kid. So I was like, then I was like just allowing my imagination to run, and I was like, oh yes. And I was standing in front of I was in a marketplace, and there was this hat, and it was just this weird thing. Like, anyway, so yeah. Lara?
I have a Snickers bar now. Mine was, so yeah, my mom was auditing me on self-analysis, which is like another child version of Dianetics. It's like
very similar.
Yeah. And so she was like, recall an earlier time, and I went down to being birthed, like coming out of my mom, and like being like, oh, it was really bright. And I kind of was looking at my mom like, right, did that happen? Am I right? Because I kind of can see, like, I was kind of trying to see, are my thoughts imaginating
real,
or am I real? And look at my mom, you can tell me, is that what happened? Like, I was like, and then, okay, this is going to be weird. And I still have never gotten the fucking real answer on this or not. I felt like I saw that my dad wasn't there. And I was like, wait, was my dad there? And like, Mom, I don't think Dad was there. I think it was too much for him or something. And she was like, great. Like, and then it made me go, like, I don't know.
Like, was he?
Like, did he step out of the room? Like, step out of the room not there? Or was he just not there? Was he in Canada with my brother and sister while, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So, yeah.
So I've done that one.
That your mom did it. Yeah, it's wild that your mum did that on you, Lara. I've heard of that experience. Oh, like Liz Gale.
She did my TRs and objectives as well.
Oh, Jesus.
Thank you, Witch, for being a member for 1 month. I think that's, I don't know whose channel that is. That your channel, Lara?
I don't know, but Witch shares amazing.
I don't think it's mine. I don't know, but I mean, for me, spiritual and religious, I am neither. I don't believe in anything. Oh, hang on, get that away. I don't believe in anything. I've grown up, my mum and dad, when they were together, we used to go to Sunday school and church and stuff like that. But I don't know why, I've never believed it. Churches have always kind of creeped me out a bit. Don't know why.
What do you mean you don't believe in anything? I don't believe that your body dies and then that's it? No more? Done? No spiritual, no energy?
No, just nothing? A carcass. Nope, just a carcass. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, that's just me. I don't know. I look at science and I don't know. I'm open to believing, and I was saying this to Mirriam earlier. Like, so my mum and my dad. Well, my dad's gone now, but they were both. He was very spiritual. My mum's very spiritual. My mum's actually like a Wiccan, a pagan. You know, she's like a white witch. And she saw, when she was a little girl, about 10 years old, she was staying around her grandmother's house, and she woke up in the middle of the night and she saw this ghost of like this dwarf guy standing at the end of her bed, just staring at her like that. And then he like disappeared after about 5 or 6 minutes. And then she told her nan about it later on. And she went, oh, he's back again, like that. And her nan had seen the same ghost, but like behind a curtain in that room. And so it's like, you know, for them, that's real and everything. But and I'm not saying they're liars, like I believe that they saw that, but I won't believe it until I see it. You know what I mean? And I've never had any
I don't think you're calling them liars, T.
Well, you know, what's true for you is true for you. If that's what they've seen, I think if you believe in it, right? If you believe in it, you're going to see it, right?
You know that's a Scientology term. Which
I know, that's why
I was like, he is really being funny.
I totally believe. I mean, I love paranormal activity stuff. I think it's so much fun. I've done a couple of like late night ghost tours through old prisons. Like it's just my vibe. But I love and I love paranormal activity. Like I just think I think it's cool, and I do believe in that, or maybe it's just something that I want to believe. Like I remember when I was a kid, this is crazy.
Yeah, if you want to believe,
I want to believe it. Yeah, and like here's the thing, like when and also I have experienced some things, but like here's one thing that happened at the Anthony Building. I think it was on the second floor. We were in one of there was like 3 of us in there. Bonnie, that's right. Bonnie's mom's room on like I think it was third floor. I think it was the second floor. And she used to have like hamsters or guinea pigs, and anyway, so we would go in there sometimes to like hang out and feed the pets. And anyway, so we're on this bottom bunk of this bed, and we were sort of like kind of doing something kind of not a Ouija board, but some kind of like conjuring thing that we decided to do. We were like super little, like 8, 9.
Oh, I used to do them, yeah.
The blinds behind us, directly behind us, started rattling. I kid you not. And we all screamed. And I don't know, we were like terrified. Anyways, but we used to do things like you go into a bathroom, turn off the light, close the door, and you turn around and you go, bloody mirror, bloody mirror, bloody mirror. And then you look in the mirror, and just for fun. Like, so I guess like I like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we used to do that, and we used to, the same stories would kind of rotate round, like you spin around 3 times and you drop down dead and things like that, or look in the mirror. We used to say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary 3 times.
Oh, maybe we said Bloody Mary. Yeah,
I thought we said Bloody Murder, Bloody Murder, Bloody Murder.
Okay.
Yeah, mine was Bloody Mary, or is that a drink?
That's just because you like an alcoholic.
I don't like Bloody Mary, so I do like vodka.
I think it was Bloody Mary that we used to say, but
Bloody Mary.
I don't know. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe anything superstitious. I just don't.
I have this weird feeling of, I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came from, but it happens like when I would run away from the Int Ranch, run off, you know, and I would be on the waterfall or the top of the cliff, and I would be above. I always had this feeling of knowing how to fly like a bird. Like, I swear, and I don't know where that came from. And it was always so young. And I enjoyed being on the top of cliffs and on top of trees and stuff, because I just remembered like, oh yeah, air. Like, I remembered the feeling of always
free as well. Yeah, like, and that feeling of freedom and just like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like a bird, like.
But I feel like I remember the muscle of like having to fly, and then I could coast, and then having to fly, and then like I remember that, and I don't know where that comes from, and I'm like, is that a past life thing? I don't know.
Mad, you do make me laugh. Mine was Bloody Murray, right?
Bloody Murray.
But that's because I was fed up with my roommate. It was called Murray. Bloody Murray.
Oh my God, Mad Drop Bear. That is hilarious.
I do love you, Mad. You
okay.
make me laugh.
So I thought we would, can we just scroll? Because I want to find, these are like, again, the 19th century China, blah, 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 blah. But I want to, I want to scroll to like, I want to scroll to like an alien or a robot or a doll body.
Yeah, let's speed it up. L. Ron Hubbard is boring as fuck.
Yeah.
That should be a sign, a protest sign. Speed it up, get the fuck out. L. Ron Hubbard is boring as fuck.
Yes. Absolutely. And I just clicked it up again. There we go.
And
I'm gonna do this. Just do this, the better I'll get, I guess.
T, when you bring it back, just scroll slowly through the case files, and I will tell you which one to stop on.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to find. I was trying to find the different numbers.
When I tell you to stop, put that hand, follow it, and contribute to their emotion.
To the motion. Okay, stop there. Stop.
Look at my
forwards.
No, I'm trying to find.
Hi, Liz. Hi, everybody. Chat. I see you all. I just can't do anything.
Oh, okay. Stop here. Look here. Look. People have also been animals, Lara. People have also been animals, and perhaps some animals have been people. And so that idea that you had, I mean, well, you would have been given that idea first of all.
Yeah, I could have been given that idea maybe.
On one case,
sorry, you guys. Feel of that incident, and what was the smell? Oh, I was soaring over the mountains. I remember explaining that to my mom, like a red tail hawk. I was a motherfucking red tail hawk,
bitch. Love it. Okay.
Horses and dogs. Horses and dogs of human intelligence. Perhaps they had been generals or ministers of state and were taking it easy for a life or two to cure their ulcers. What?
T, read the next 2 paragraphs, please. This is important.
All right. Viewing children in the light of knowledge of past lives makes us revise our estimations of causes of child behavior. Oh, God. Evidently.
Read that again. Wait, read that again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Viewing children in the light of knowledge of past lives makes us revise our estimations of causes of child behavior.
Wait, let's read that again. Actually, I'm going to read that again. Viewing children in the light of knowledge of past lives. So now literally saying here, viewing children the way we do, or the way the world does, in the light of knowledge of past lives makes us review or revise. Mm-hmm. It's so small, but revise.
Oh, sorry. I can make it bigger.
Thank you. That's what she said. Knowledge of past lives makes us revise our estimation. Is that what it says?
Estimation
of causes of child behavior. Like, what the hell are you saying, L. Ron Hubbard? Hold on. Try to break this down. Viewing children is viewing children in the light. So the way that we are viewing children in the way that we have the knowledge that you guys have now just heard all this about past lives.
Yeah.
Is in the light of knowledge of past lives makes us revise our estimations of causes of child behavior.
Causes.
Like, oh, they're doing this, they're acting this way because of past life behaviors, not just going, oh, you're a child, you're a devil child, why are you acting like this?
So evidently
it makes sense, like I was saying earlier. It makes sense when I was saying, well, as a child, you're always constantly all the time being told, knock it off, that's spanky, or knock off that behavior. That's not you. Be you and be that theta potato you are, you little theta potato you.
Yeah, that's perfect, Laura. All right, let's scroll. Let's just scroll slowly, because if you keep going forward, T, we're going to go through the cases. No, don't go back. Go forwards.
There's a list of the cases at the front, isn't there?
Doesn't matter. Keep going forwards. We're not doing that. We're just going to go over the cases. We're not going to look at the list. Yeah. Keep going forwards. Yeah. These are the cases. We've read this first case. Now just slowly, T, because I need to look at the content. This next one, keep going. Just slowly keep scrolling. I will tell you when to stop. Slowly keep going.
You know them all.
This is no, I don't. I mean, it's been like however long, 30 years since I bloody read it. But I'm just saying, this is 19th century China. We don't want to. It's like that's okay. We get the idea. We just want to get to something like that's really like out of this planet is the core of what we want to get to.
Yeah.
Okay, slow. 56 BC. Soldier. Okay, soldier. Keep going. There's going to be a lot of soldier stories. Left that person.
Yeah,
even left that person's body. Okay. Keep going. Yep.
Oh,
galaxy. Oh, we got to do a galaxy. Here we go. Okay. The engram. Just go to where it says the engram. T, scroll up a bit.
The engram. If you've got your marijuana, you might want
engram. Sorry, engram.
Yeah. Okay, stop there. Who wants to read this one?
I will read the engram.
Yes.
No, Laura. Yes, please. Laura, can you see this okay, or do you need T to zoom in a bit more?
I feel like I can zoom in. I can zoom in.
Okay.
This whole time.
Perfect.
Okay. The engram. I'm gonna do it in the way that my voice is telling me to do it.
Oh, fuck yes, please do.
The engram. This takes place 9 galaxy periods ago. I was a male born of space parents. I seemed to have 2 or 3 mothers who died or were killed. At the age of 5, I was already on the lookout for brothels.
Oh my God. What the
excuse me, we're in the middle of an auditing session. No commenting.
At the age of 5. Okay.
Yes.
At the age of 5.
I seem to have 2 or 3 mothers who died or were killed. At the age of 5, I was already on the lookout for brothels. At 9 years of age, I asked my father if I could join the Space Academy. However, this did not occur until I am 14. I am 15 when I go with other boys and girls for 3 months to learn all about sex and homosexuality. When I am 16, I kill my father while fighting on the planet, and I join a spaceship. It seems I have a journey here and rejoin the ship when I am 19. Then I learn all about spaceship drill, takeoffs, etc. There is homosexuality, as only officers are allowed women. I did not care for homosexuality and soon gained the title of captain, and so was able to have a wife of my own. She had a baby, and a few days later I found the wife enjoying pleasures with another officer. I put her and the officer up for trial, and they were condemned and burned, zapped with special ray equipment. I killed the baby because I thought it was not my child.
Jeez Louise.
I wanted to go back home, so I went to see the captain who was in charge of all the spacecraft men and who knew where the ship was going. I asked for the spaceship to be turned around, and he said no. I went mad and killed the captain with my hands and broke up his body. Next, I went into the main hall and pressed a button to ring the bell for assembly. I asked for votes on turning back the spaceship for home. 65% said yes. Yes. As I was walking to the crew members, I felt a gun at the back of my body, and I was led off. I was led off by officers along the corridor. I was screaming and struggling as I did not want to go to the zap machine, a ray gun to destroy bodies. However, I arrived and my body was held against the wall by clamps. Hands were outstretched against the wall. This wall was made of special ray deflecting material, about 1 yard or 2 yards thick. I mean, 1 yard and 2 yards is a complete difference if you're talking about yards. Was it 1 yard or 2 yards thick? Okay. This wall was made of special ray deflecting material, about 1 yard or 2 yards thick. I felt the warmth of the ray until it grew so bad that I left my body. As soon as the head had been burned off, the clamps were automatically opened and the body fell in a trench in the floor, arms outstretched. A large trapdoor made of metal was slammed on my arms, cutting them off. The arms were swept into the trench and the trapdoor was lifted up again. As it slammed tight again, my body fell into a space container and I was thrown outside by tremendous pressure. A space coffin had its own power to fall away from the ship. That is all I remember, for this was written by me 10 days after I found out most of the story. The story is still disjointed, so one day I hope to recall the whole story of my life in that incident. To LRH.
Woo!
Thank you.
That was so well done. Yeah, holy shit, hey.
You need to like go find another one? Children's stories or something. That would be amazing. That'd be so cool. Like audiobooks for kids.
Oh yeah.
Not everybody likes my voice.
I like it.
Love it. Love it.
Do you want to go find another one? We'll do one for you to read, T.
Yeah.
Scroll for us.
Let's do a nasty engram.
Let's get nasty.
Oh my gosh, let me just do that.
So just a slow scroll.
That
sorry, Clara?
That line of the, you know, the knowledge of these past lives is now making us review children's behavior.
Yeah.
It's like so gross. L. Ron Hubbard's disgusting. Why the fuck was he so interested in children's minds and how they worked and how to control people? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Laura, isn't that so shocking, like, for us? Because I didn't even remember. I mean, we're talking about, I read this when I was, like, 11 years old. I'm 40 now. Like, I didn't remember. And I don't think I even read all that prior sort of, like, pre-stuff before you get into the case stories. Because I'm, you know, as a kid, I would have just wanted to read the case stories, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, just so everyone can see that this child focus is like imbued through everything, through every aspect of what he did, the child labor, the fucking invasive, and like it's really yuck. Hey,
you know what I remember? I remember the knife on the book cover. I remember that I thought that was related to maybe there's an engram in here where the guy's head gets chopped off and he recalls his eyeballs seeing the head roll still. Like he said he remembers after he died that he could see the world, the sand, the ground, the world, the sand. And I couldn't get that out of my head. I was like, maybe I shouldn't be reading this.
Laura, that is totally one. Yeah, you got it. Bang on. Okay, let's get to this one. But yes, to that comment, yes, child protection, absolutely. It violates child protection laws 1,000,000%. And that's something, like, all of this stuff needs to be reported. For me, that's my focus this year, is to just encourage people to report, to create a atmosphere of reporting where we hold the governments accountable for the lack of intervention. This is fucked. It ends now. Like, fucking wake the fuck up. This is disgusting that this is still going on to kids. This is still happening to children. The hypnosis of children so that they can be used and exploited in whatever way that the person who wants to exploit them can do so. Like, no, fucking no. So the governments and law enforcement, they need to act. They will be held accountable. All of this, like, this is 2025. What we need to do is we need to follow due process, and we need to do our reporting, and there is a ton to do. So yeah, that's going to be a big, and also my only focus this year, basically.
And also is that people have been giving L. Ron Hubbard, like, I see even comments like, hey, you know, L. Ron Hubbard was a very accomplished hypnotist. No, he fucking wasn't. He literally stole like professional hypnotic techniques and then went and fucking spin them around and fucked people up with them. He was not an accomplished hypnotist. Accomplished at fucking children's minds and adult minds up, then yes, but that's
studied hypnosis and used it in the wrong way. That's what he's done.
Even earlier, T, you said I'll hand L. Ron Hubbard that. No, don't hand him nothing. He fucking is a liar, a thief, a con artist. He's ruined families' lives. He's done nothing without manipulation.
Well, a hand is probably the wrong wording.
In his technique, every part of L. Ron Hubbard's techniques is not true. Everything he's teaching people is not true. It's all not true. And for psychology and psychiatry to be the enemy of him and him to say, without having any credentials in this. Okay, people go to a lot of work in schooling and therapy and non-schooling, so they get all kinds of ideas of what the mind does and doesn't do, and the brain and the body and all this. L. Ron Hubbard had fucking 0 credentials in this, yet he's sitting here fucking people with hypnosis. No, he's not any genius at anything. He's a fuck up.
Yeah. What I meant by that is probably the wrong wording, but he's I guess a bloody genius at lying, which is not a good thing. Do you know what I mean? It's disgusting, and I don't believe he did it all by himself as well. He had other people writing shit for him, you know.
No,
just, yeah,
no. He had other people that he had. L. Ron Hubbard always was like, I write everything. If it's not, he wrote policy letters literally that said, if it's not written, it's not true. And he's literally saying, if it's not written by me, it's not true. And so now
he's the most prolific writer in the world, as far as I understand. So he is someone who can write. He would just write blah, 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 blah,
about dog shit, and he can just keep writing and writing and writing and writing. But like the thing is like he's just so full of shit. He's just full of rumbling shit. He's just constantly rumbling, and all of us in our right minds are trying to make some sanity to it. We're literally trying to make some sort of sanity to the garbage that he has brainwashed and fucked people with, mentally screwed up their own thinking of the basic of life.
And I think what T was
how to take care of a child that you birthed and gave, you know. Okay, sorry.
No, I know, sweetie. Like, listen, Laura, let me just say this for a sec. I feel what you're feeling right now, Laura, because it's sad, it's upsetting that this is what we were subjected to. This is what we went through. This is our parents were fucking mind-controlled freaks. Like, we're looking at some really, really early stuff that, you know, is the core of what these processes are that were run on us as kids. And we don't want that for anybody else. We're so frustrated and almost exhausted that this is still going on today. It is something that's going to keep us going and going and going. And T, I want to sort of just
listen, I feel awful for saying that.
T, can I finish?
Yeah.
Can I finish? Okay.
Sorry.
So what I wanted to say, T, is that I felt like I understood what you were saying, the sentiment that you were saying of like the level of awareness that he had for what he was doing is what I felt like you were trying to say. The level of intelligence in terms of knowing he could deceive people, and he knew that he could take certain things, and he knew the mechanisms that he would need to put into play in order to be able to control people. And and I just wanted to agree with your sentiment on that. Is I felt like that was what you were trying to say.
kind of blurt stuff out sometimes, and then I'm like, fuck that, I didn't mean it to come out like that. Do you know what I mean? I think the guy is absolutely fucking vile.
It's just this idea at all. No. And I know that. Literally wouldn't be on a panel with you if you literally. But there's people, even sweet people in the chat are saying things like this. Like, if I could pull up comments, I would. But it's just like, no, call him what he is. He literally got nothing approved. He lied about all of his awards and certificates. He literally has a fake fucking museum on Hollywood Boulevard that he lies and says is a life exhibition that now today the Sea Org members still running it hide their executive fucking trafficking executive Scientology members in the building above this museum of all these fake statues and awards. This fucking liar has built his whole bullshit fucking foundation off of. Not even one thing of Scientology is legit. It all came up because he manipulated people to hurry up and type it and then put it in his name. And even then he's getting an award of writing the most prolific, whatever. He literally had other people doing for him as he's just splurting out ooga booga. I'm recording lectures. I'm recording. And today, a billion years ago. And then the next fucking lecture is like, well, the study tech must go in. If the study tech is not in, there's no results. It's just like he's so fucking full of shit, and he abused LSD. He abused black. He learned about MKK Ultra. Abused that. Like, no, there's nothing fucking good about this man. I'm so disgusted by people that are blood related to this man that aren't spewing out how disgusting it is to have somebody like this so vile in their bloodline.
Yeah, and Laura as well, like recognizing and reliving. I mean, you were reliving moments like what you were talking about, real stories of like when you were a child being audited by your own mother, recalling stuff that then created ideas in your head that you believed that you flew before as a red-tailed hawk or whatever it was that, you know, that just the type of bird that you said. You like knew that in your head as a child, like I was this kind of animal, and then we saw that in this very writing, like yes, people could be animals prior. So and this is why,
right? Yeah, and we hold on so deeply, and we're like, okay, maybe someday this fucking Dianetics auditing will work for me, and I'm not even at fucking OT3 yet. So like, hurry up already. The touch assists are barely working.
Yeah, it's fucking. It's absolutely shocking. Sorry, you go.
I just wanted to finish what I was saying. For me, what I'm getting from this is like what I'm experiencing is that our parents that were caught up in this literal imagined fantasy of like when I was a previous life, and this was what my mother was like because she had recalled previous lives. She really believed in that, and she believed she knew who I was in a previous life. Like this really whack a fucking do insanity fantasy land. And we were born into other people's adult people's fantasies. You understand? Like they were recalling when this person fucked that person fucking this way in this galaxy, and then that person is now that person in this life. It's all it's literal fantasy, and they were looking at their own children as if they were all these other fucking stories of people that had been made up in heads. Like it's all fucking lunacy, and we were literally born into this, being told this, being instilled this in us from birth onwards.
Not only being instilled in all this in it's like now getting out, whatever that means, right? And now trying to enjoy life while separating those things that you're so used to reacting or being or saying, and you're realizing, oh my God, these are the things that are self-destructing my life, and I can't even look at it. It's making me so angry to look at it. But yet this is the thing that made us. This is who the fuck they made us to believe, and we're prying that apart. Like, it's just so disgusting. And then even as a child, when all these things are already, you know, set in stone, and this is how it is, and that any of your own imaginative thoughts and your own creativity and your own anything is not even there anymore. You're literally like these Sea Org members that are staring at you like, well, that's not true. Scientology has done a lot for me. I've been in it for 40 years. No, you know what? Have a great day. You know, it's just like, well, okay, we can see the facts.
Totally. And you just reminded me, okay, I had this phone conversation with my brother, who I love, my brother who is still in the Sea organization, and he's now 41 years old. And I remember when I had called him and I asked him, you know, I told him about a serious, you know, whatever. Anyway, I don't want to get sideways, but and he said to me, he was like, Mirriam, Mirriam, Scientology has saved my life thousands of times.
Oh, God.
He was born and raised in the core of Scientology, and yet he believed that Scientology had saved his life thousands of times. Now, the only way you can arrive at that statement is if you're talking about past lives.
Yeah.
Because it has saved him again and again and again
and this is so
from
bad.
These things reoccurring. Yeah,
I know who you're talking. Ben. I was in Clearwater when he was in training and stuff, so I know he also has a lot.
Yeah, he was.
He has a lot of technical training and stuff, and so that is like that's
he
just
does.
so.
You're right.
He's literally looked like 2 years or 3 years old. And he was such a fun, you know, freckled, bright, you know, red-haired, fun, sweet, buff, very athletic, you know, just a sweet guy. And I even thought, like, wow, there's so many sweet men, like, in the world. Like, oh, even men, because at the Ant Ranch, there was a lot of rude male cadets. They were just fucking, they're just naturally supposed to be bullies, right? And no flirting and no care and no touch and no love. Like, so the men were naturally...
I so appreciate you describing him, Lara, like that, because that's exactly how I remember him being. He was such a pure, beautiful, good soul, and that's the thing that is the hardest, is that these kids that were in it with us, that are still there today, they are some of the purest, most like beautiful souls that have been trapped. These souls are trapped there. And you are absolutely correct, Lara, in saying that he was, for years, he had done the technical training. And you're right. It's like the more technical training you have, the more Hubbard you have in you. And so you see how you go from these creating false memories to this certainty of knowing that you were a soldier in a past lifetime that you can recall. And the reason why you had that soreness in your neck is because they chopped your head off and you saw your head roll, and you saw the sky and then the ground and the sky and the ground. And do you know what I mean? Like, it's so real. It was so real. And
also want to say that I also feel like your brother in a way was protecting you, Mirriam. Like, mentally, he's going well.
I know.
Here's one thing that, look, if your brother was molested, let's just say, there's probably not a far chance that your dad didn't fucking do something stupid like that too. So I'm just saying, whatever he had to go through, or any pain or trauma that he wouldn't ever go back and experience again, is because he's cleaned it up and he's resolved it, because we've done this through every lifetime, and let's fix it together this lifetime. You're my sister. I care about you. So he's almost like relieving you of that pressure, saying, which is almost, it's such a double-edged sword, because it's like the worst thing you could tell somebody if you were like, if they go and tell you something very traumatic, right? And then it's also the most loving thing in a person's mind that thinks like, this is my sister, I'm going to be the big brother and give her some good advice here.
Yeah.
Because that's all he knows. Like, he wouldn't be doing it if he didn't believe it that hard.
It's a good
2020. We've been on this live for 2.
How are you guys going for time? Because this Ingram here is a really good one to dive in.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm totally good. And
okay,
if people
perfect.
are fall asleep,
I just want to say, you know,
we've got a bunch of people in here that are homies that love hanging in on information like this. This is where the homies get the real deep, long-term information. So
yes, love it. And Lara, I think we've really sorry, T, before you.
Right.
I'm gonna let you finish. No, I'm joking. But I wanted to say to Lara, I'm so glad that we did this today, because, and we're not done yet, but before we get into the more lighthearted stuff again, this has been some really fucking deep ass motherfucking shit. And I am so glad and so grateful to you and to T as well that we're doing this and that we're looking at these things, and it's not easy. We thought this was going to just be like a hilarious kind of thing, right? But it's like, as soon as you look at this Hubbard shit, it's fucking right there. It's vicious. It's right honestly, there. The destruction of children.
And I think the best way that people need to hear that is if you're literally catching yourself going like, no, well, L. Ron Hubbard did this, you know, it wasn't. What are you protecting L. Ron Hubbard for? What are you doing? Like, first ask yourself, if this was true, would you fucking keep saying, no, L. Ron Hubbard didn't do that? Ask yourself if it fucking by any chance could be true. Because the moment you do that, you start to see what else could be true.
Honestly, ladies, I'm sitting here almost in tears hearing shit. Sorry. It just, just hearing that you lost your childhoods and having a child myself, and having been as lucky as to not have gone through that. Sorry, it really does break my heart. Oh my God, it's really
It's alright.
Sorry, and I cannot articulate and put things into words as beautifully as you do. You're both very deep. I take a long time to process things and get things out. I just want to do everything I can to help, and I like deeply regret saying that, Laura. That fell out of my fucking head, and I don't even know why I said those words.
Babe, it's very simple. You literally say what you want. Fine. I want you to know that if you don't say things like that, you'll never know what triggers us, and you will never know why this runs so deeply, and why a trigger thing simply like that for a child coming up from this is so triggering, because everything was just destroyed by this man's mentality. I don't even know why I said that. No, listen. But what you're trying, that's what I'm saying is what you were. I
don't know why.
What you were saying is that
I loathe the guy. I absolutely fucking loathe the guy.
And you're trying to be a good, because you're a good human being, and that's why I said you're a good human being, and it's useless. It's insane for a sane person to make sense of insanity. You can make sense of sanity, so stop making sense of insanity, because it's going to make you upset, and you're going to randomly say things like, let's give him something. He was good at being a con artist. People have told me that. And I'm like, yeah, he was, but no, even other con artists have done way better things without hurting so many people. He literally took the most manipulative subject, the mind, the body, the past lives, spirituality, all these things, and
the most powerful thing, really, isn't it? The mind. And I'm trying to dissect it and go through the fucking processes that he used, and use it not against him because he's gone, but use it in some way to help people to kind of somehow, I don't know, break the spell. Do you know what I mean?
And it is you being on this panel talking to me and Mirriam. It is, you know why? Because we're also showing other religions and things that are also going on in other cults. That if you're having similar behaviors to this, even though you're not calling it going clear or OT3 or, go see ethics, you're getting put in a room and getting the doors locked and bolted for 3 days. And then you're starved and hungered for food. All of this, that is all this behavior that we're talking about, and how this just happens to be the fucked up version we went through. But all this kind of deep mental behavior goes for everybody in the whole planet. All countries, all across the world. If you are ever in these deep mental thinking processes and you're finding yourself if you're going, oh, well, my uncle kind of did that to me. There you go. You literally, your mind, your body is showing you red flags, right? Red, beautiful flags saying, see, you're getting these images when we're talking about this torturous, manipulative, controlling feelings. Like, take a breath and just ask yourself, what are you afraid to actually see for yourself? Like, what are you actually afraid to say, if this was happening, what would I do about it? How would I feel? Because then it gives you the option to go, could I be powerful about it, or would I be at effect? And is that why I'm so afraid of this person?
And T, like, all of this gives us opportunities to have deeper conversations. I mean, by saying that, you sparked a deeper conversation. So please, like, we know your heart. T, like Laura said, we would never be on here with you if we didn't know your heart, like, or feel that we know your heart and your intentions. And like, you could say all frogs are purple, and then Laura and I could say, well, actually, I saw a green frog and I saw a yellow frog, and this one time when I was I had a whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's all just dialogue. Nothing is, it's all fine, and it's great for us to then be able to dive into it on a deeper level, and also show emotional impact. Like, Laura speaks from the way that she wants people to. I'm not speaking for you, Laura. I disagree with me if you need to, but it's like, this is real stuff, and we need for people to be able to see how this affects children. And the one way we can do that is to speak openly and have our feelings out there, and be real and be authentic. And so please don't
with two people that were children in it, and one thing I wanted to ask, I hope it's all right, like, when you came to the sort of realization, I mean, I'm not saying it probably wasn't like a light bulb moment, it was probably a process, but when you realized that it was all bullshit, like, how the fuck did you cope with that? Like, your entire existence has revolved around this stuff, And then you find out
what we're coping with right now. That is how the fuck would you cope with it? We're still, this is the beginning of us coping with it. We're just at the beginning.
100%, Laura. 100%.
You think we're crazy now? Wait till we're amazing age.
You're far from it. Yeah.
Wait. No. I mean, but like, we only can get better from here because now we're able to get it out and grow from it. Now we understand the cycle of spitting it out, getting it out, being angry, and then having society and people around us saying like, hey, babe, that's not cool. That's not the way. Like, you can't argue with me. And we're going, why? Why can't I yell? What's wrong? Okay.
And I just think you're incredible people.
Your own heart. Yeah. And so we're still learning. We're coming out of it. Everybody's a part of what we're coming out of.
Yeah. I really agree with you, Laura, there in saying that. Like my answer was going to be like, how do you process it all? Like, you do it in pieces. But I liked what you said, Laura, how you said we're still doing it now, like here in real time. Like, here is another piece right in front of us. Like, we didn't know that it's soaked into everything, and it's hard because that was what we experienced as children. And we really want people to understand, like, when we're talking about, I just want to say this, and then I'd love to move to this next story. But when we're talking about this difference between, you know, the people who chose this for themselves and the people who had no choice, that they were born and raised in it, the experience is completely different because children cannot fend for themselves. And adults can make martyrs of themselves, but they do not have the right to make martyrs of children. And this is where law comes in to protect children. And so,
I would also say that they're not, and by Mirriam saying that, and by me saying like, fucking calling all the adults out, and by Nora saying, hey, these people who aren't fucking calling people out for what it is, doesn't mean we don't think that there is trauma from the other side of being in Scientology as well. We understand that adults can be fucking destroyed mentally by Scientology. The only legal protection we can do to save ourselves mentally now, and the future kids of Scientology physically and mentally, is to use the legal system, which is 18 and above, or 21 and above, right? So sorry, my Mary Jane. But so if we could even just get the kids support, the thing that a child needed the most in Scientology to stay the fuck away from this is the thing we need to legally get and stamped, because there's no other way that we know of right now that is going to actually legally get Scientology to stop doing what they're doing, because right now they're getting away with it. Right now they're buying people out in the legal system and in the police department, in every aspect, in all aspects, in the child care services. Like, so there's certain ways where we need to show other judges or show other people that, hey, look at it from this aspect, look at it from the cult aspect, because you're not seeing the cult aspect because they've learned to cover that real well.
This is really at the crux of it. It's psychological torture of vulnerable
and warfare. They literally are talking about taking over the planet. They literally, in all of their promo videos and everything, there's always planetary, you know, planet and the shining and the light up to the planet of Earth and the universe and the stars. It's literally,
and this is taking place. This is taking place as our language is being formed. So I just completely, wholeheartedly, with every fiber of my being, reject the idea that there's any kind of comparison in the experience. It's remotely different. It's remotely different. You're talking about biological changes in a fucking child. You're talking about fucking biological changes of their brain and their body before they even have the fucking means to form ideas or language about what the fuck is being done to them. That is different to what happened to the adults. Were they defrauded? Yeah, sure. Were they fucking tricked, lied to, harassed, whatever the fuck? Yeah, sure. But we are talking about something on a fucking biological fucking level. So it's just not comparable. And we are still today confronting even further, just in this fucking live. And thank you, T, for facilitating this for us. We appreciate you.
Anytime, man.
We are still learning how fucking deluded and fucking lost in fantasy our parents were, that they allowed and enjoyed and delighted in the psychological torture of, and the ruin, the fucking mental ruin of their own children.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's what,
from babies. From babies. Yeah. So, yeah, it's the worst of the worst horror. It's the horror film just got slightly worse today, right? So, it's like, for me.
Because it becomes a lifetime. No. It's a lifetime. For a child, it's a lifetime. It never goes away. You literally question 40 years later, like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I was still thinking that, you know, I needed to send my message to the universe so that I can be positive. And, you know, these things where, oh, I need postulate or whatever 40 years later. And I'm like, oh, I used to still do that. Thinking, but it's okay. You just got to think it in your own way, not the way that Scientology. Anyways, it's like it never we're showing you the damage of the depths of, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper because we ourselves are recognizing the damage for ourselves as children being for so long in a long-term situation like that, what that literally does to the mind. Thinking about fucking engrams, is that an engram? Or you need to go in session and audit that engram off because you're acting really HENR. Or, we need to run some ARC break withholds on you or whatever it is. It's always like engram, reactive mind, analytical mind, going up the bridge, better stay clean. Yeah. Overts and withholds. This is how you study. These are the TRs. This is how you communicate. Don't have your own thoughts. Don't masturbate. It's literally everything forever for so long is ruined. It's taken over. And it's so uncomfortable to have to come back and learn it at such an older age. And a lot of people that have been born in the cadet org or in the Sea Org, like my brother, are so fucking behind and immature and are so fucked permanently, it feels at times, because of the missing pockets and the non-care and the missing details of life that they should have had as just a regular child, not having money or not even being rich have in life. So it's really, really, really highly dangerous. You literally fuck up the rest of your life into what it should or could have as a normal human being, even in society's world, because going to other people in society's world is also wasting, you're a waste. You're using people's time. You're being out exchanged. You're leaning on people. You know what I mean? Like, you're not independent. You're not surviving well. Anyways, long story longer. Let's get back to the engrams.
I honestly, and I appreciate you coming onto my channel and doing this, because one of the reasons I relate to this community so much is I can relate to a lot of what you're saying. Obviously not in the same way, but I've learned so much about my trauma and by listening to you guys and saying, well, this happened and this did this to my brain. And there's a lot of things that I've been through since childhood, nowhere near as, what you've been through, but still trauma. And one of the things, like, Mirriam, how you just said that we know your heart. My family doesn't even know my own heart. So that means so much to me. This isn't about me, but that's why I love this community. My sisters, every time I see my sisters, they don't understand my heart, and we always fall out and stuff like that. They just don't get me. They treat me like one sister in particular, she thinks, I don't know if she thinks I'm a bad person or something, but she just doesn't get me. And I've known her all my life, like 43 years, and you get me, And so I appreciate that more than anything. And
same for my sister, and same for Miriam's brother, Ben. We're so stuck. We think like, what the fuck? There's this weird rooted connection of being a brother and a family member to somebody. And then for some reason, somebody's mental beliefs are literally pulling that away from you. And you're going, what the fuck? I literally am not even around you. And you don't like me just because of beliefs. That's horrible. What kind of family are you leading? What kind of family, if your family is breaking up because of beliefs, I'm not talking about Scientology even right now, I'm just talking about in general, any disconnection from family roots, instead of addressing the person or the situation or the upset or the wrong, you know, instead of addressing it, you're literally continuing this behavior of I'm just, well, then go away. And so then you're not family. You're not acting like family, because then if you can't keep your family together in beliefs, then you can't keep a family together.
And absolutely.
Which is
and
so the opposite sword, where somebody is very religious and you're not part of the family if you don't have our beliefs.
Yeah. And T, let me just say, like, the heart is where the community is aligned. So, because, like, let me say this, like, you know, if you look across a whole bunch of us that are out here, you know, who were, you know, second gens, so we're all really, really different from each other. We have different experiences, different adult experiences, because we, you know, it's all, for a lot of us, it's been many years since we've left. But look at like Laura and I, and Serge, and Liz Gale, and Liz Ferris, and Nora. We're all different people. And we present ourselves in different ways, and we say things in the way, whatever. We have different ideas about things. We have different, we might not agree on a lot of things, but the heart is where we know that this is wrong, and we know.
I know a lot of people keep saying we might not agree on a lot of things, but that's actually not true. We all agree on a lot of things, and the things we don't agree on, it becomes very obvious. So it seems like
agree with that. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. You got
all
it.
right.
All right. Who's reading this? Is this T?
Up a bit, man. Like, let's just try and cheer this up a bit. But after Laura's reading, I can't top that, man. Like,
Mirriam,
you're so animated and amazing.
Okay.
You know. And I think maybe all of the viewers may have actually read this now while we've been talking, because it's been.
I know I can't top Laura. Laura is a very talented individual. We celebrate you, Laura.
And, amazing.
Okay, so it says, I had the misfortune to have heaviest needle drop on a space incident 78 trillion years ago.
So wait, heaviest needle drop? She's talking about the E-meter.
Oh, yeah.
The needle on the E-meter. So they got to read a heavy needle drop on. Sorry, Mirriam.
I don't mind reading it. Laura, Mirriam. I can read. Do you want me to read it or?
Oh, let me just say this one thing though. So Laura, good point there. And with the heaviest needle drop, so that's like a list. They said like, was it blah? Because they're listing the time. They're trying to find the time track, right, where it is on. And so they'll get like they'll maybe get a little tick on something, a little bit of a movement, but on this one it went boom. So it's 78 trillion years ago.
Down where the needle went all the way long fall, like after they were so fucking
okay. So
the needle things are all bullshit and made up. That's the whole fucking thing. Like no credentials again, no credentials, no certificates. This man is bullshit. The E-meters were literally being made by members at Golden Air Productions and cadets, children from the Int Ranch, being bussed over 15 minutes away in a van, every day. They would go in the morning and come back on the dinner run back to the Int Ranch, building these E-meters that everybody in Scientology has to use to go fucking OT. So insane. Think about it.
And with the non-certification, and what you're saying about that with all this, well, pretty much like covert hypnosis, no regulation. And that's when they came into Australia in 1955, and they try to run their shit there as Hassie or whatever it is. And that is, I think, me and Mirriam, we were talking about how we think that Australia were not having it. They weren't having it. Hubbard said that it was going to be the first clear continent. I think he opened, there was in California and then Washington, D.C., and then he came to Australia and opened the church in Melbourne. And it was them, I think it was the Anderson report or whatever, they banned it in 3 different states. And that's when he decided to change it to a religion. He actually came to a mental health thing, didn't he? It was like a...
T, just to keep us on track here, but the Anderson report is a good point because it mentions in there hypnosis. But can you just start reading? Do you want to read it?
That's a whole other stream. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Do you want to start reading from There Was a Fantastic Space Factory? Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Right. There was a fantastic space factory with gold animals hanging oh my God.
Concentrically.
Concentrically.
So in a circle?
Yeah. Right, okay. From it all around, mainly elephants and zebra by the necks. These appeared solid, but periodically imploded or exploded. What? There was no gravity, even near planets. Inside were 4 great bronze grinding wheels. During the incident, I look at times both ways, as well as seeing it as a kind of circle from outside time. This is confusing as hell. Therefore, it is hard to say whether discs were
okay, skip that. It's about whatever animals, discs, and everything. Okay. Sorry. No, you're doing great. I think probably I'll know which parts to like skip over that are just getting too like
it more with the needle wacky things and stuff. Yeah. Sorry, babe.
Guys, we got to read the whole thing.
Okay.
That's it. I'm taking over.
Okay, go.
I'm doing it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Start from the beginning. Go back up to the long needle blowdown bullshit.
Okay.
That's
right here. Okay. No, ready?
Yes. Gather round.
No engram was fully run on me. I had the misfortune to have the heaviest needle drop on a space incident 78 trillion years ago. 2 trillion years further than I had ever heard existed. And this was not encouraging. So much of it was so fantastic that it seemed like dub-in, but I am pretty sure now the incidents may have been held by a grouper, but that they were, in the main, real. There was a fantastic space factory with gold animals hanging concentrically from it all around, mainly elephants and zebra by the necks. These appeared solid, but periodically imploded or exploded. There was no gravity even near planets. Inside were 4 great bronze grinding wheels. During the incident, I looked at times both ways, as well as seeing it as kind of a circle from outside of time. Therefore, it is hard to say whether discs from a case were ground up and made into small animals, which I think was the case, or whether animals were compressed into discs. I think the animals were subsequently inflated after blowing up through a totem and a cat devil, and then broadcast via the outside animals to other planets. This was so fantastic. I was unwilling to run it and considered it a dub-in. The main and most awful part, and the most impenetrable of the incident, was the feeling of waiting and counting 30 to press a button. What was to happen then was uncertain. Either I was to blow up a planet, had blown one up, or failed to prevent it from being blown up. For this, I felt I was punished by bearded priests to whom I was betrayed by colleagues, by being compelled to work the grinder. There was also, towards the end, the stronger idea that all this appeared to happen in a robot body. The incident was so heavy and so confused that a lighter process had to be run. During this, which lasted the remainder of course, many lighter incidents were touched, but none run, such as Chinese tortures, meeting Christ, a crucifixion, a heart operation, a hanging, rape, and an attempted murder. All of these, and especially an arrow in the eye of the death of a pope, a catharsism, and a girl were extremely real, but I was not sure that they had happened to me. I think I was mistaking me for the body, however, as incidents run from this present body's lifetime proved to appear, to my astonishment, less real than any of the above mentioned. This may be because I was apparently drugged. However, the face of a person known intimately to me in this life appeared less real than all these earlier incidents.
Isn't that interesting? Like how real these things get, like more real than
flop through time and this, and L. Ron Hubbard said this, and look at, and now look, so fucking.
I just couldn't get my head around that. Like, what the hell? I need pictures.
Intergalactic space heroes, intergalactic
cogs, and
I love it.
Fucking golden disc. Yeah. I'm lost.
So another thought that I had while you were reading that, Lara, of which you did so perfectionally, is like, you know, there's a lot of like rape fantasy fucking coming through here, right? And like, do you know what I mean? It's like because it's like imagination, and then you're describing. I mean, we've talked about this so many times, so I don't want to like spend too much, you know, don't want to like belabor the point, but like you're describing this to another person, and you're like saying all these things, and they never happened. It's really fucking whack.
And also that it minimizes real pedophilia. It actually minimizes because, 100%. You know, the reason that this pedophile is just doing what he's doing is because they have attached old bad habits from other lifetimes or from other Thetans on them. And so it's not your fault. You'll just audit it and get it away.
And like, because what happens in this time, like with this body, with that person's body, and with your body, doesn't really matter because it's all spiritual anyways. And so if we just, you know, if we care about the spirits, we're not talking about this lifetime, we're talking about past lifetimes and future lifetimes. And the only way we can really change this person, this is what Jane Doe 3 in the Danny Masterson case was talking about, where she believed, because she was a Scientologist, that the only way to really help him, and Jane Doe 1, you know, would have believed this as well. I mean, but they all would. We all did. We were all Scientologists raised on this stuff, and yeah, just being this idea of like, well, the only way to really help a person who is doing something like that is actually for them to get more Scientology
auditing, and when they are doing that, find out who they're doing it to, and then make them accountable for finding out what they did, and more auditing to pull that in.
100%. Which is what they did to Jane Doe 1. Yeah. 100%. All right, what's next? What's our next story?
You want to do another one?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do another wacky one. What do you guys reckon? What's that, Laura? Yeah. That looks good. Is that like a gummy type thing?
Yeah. It's like a gummy peas popsicle.
Is it like citrusy?
I got Captain Davy's
It's all these flavors. Oh. It's all these. Yes, I got this from Davy, and it's so amazing.
That looks cool.
I got Captain Davy's tears, which are delicious.
There's like apple, orangey, peach, and then like yummy red cherry. So like I just like where I want cherry.
Yeah. This one's got a Planet of Perfection. A Planet of Perfection of 1,600 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want to present it to the screen, T?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to. My batteries are starting to run out now.
How cool is Laura's screen behind her, by the way, guys? Doesn't it give the vibe?
No, I love it. It's so good. It's so good. I need to sort out my background. I'm with you now, Mirriam.
We all went with the green theme in case no one noticed, but yeah.
I mean, I've got a green light. I've got this bloody, doesn't really do anything, but that's a green. And then I've got the green thing on my chair. We were trying to like get like a weird vibe, but Lara, you pulled it off. It's brilliant. I love it. Yeah. But
thank you.
Put it on.
Okay, who wants to read this one? Scroll down. We'll start from the Ingram T.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nom nom nom.
I think this one's pretty short, so I'll just jump on this one.
Okay.
It all started. Okay. It all started on a planet of perfection 1,600 years ago. By that I mean I'm trying to do Lara's vibe. Okay. By that I mean everything was orderly and routine. My part on this planet was a sort of engineer in a big powerhouse that supplied the energy by means of beams to feed the machines that were in use for the welfare of the people. One of these machines being a sort of god, it being the big boss giving us our orders by the use of a beam. Wow, that's handy. And no man having the right to originate a thought other than a copy of what the big boss says. Machine. Anyway, something goes wrong with the powerhouse, and the machine doesn't get enough energy, and the people put the blame on me and give me a dose of this energy, which is shot through a kind of pistol. This puts me out for the count. I then transferred to a space station where I'm left to look after things. No one returns, and eventually everything breaks up through the lack of this energy to keep it together, and my body breaks up into pieces, into bits and pieces, having no energy to feed it with, the spaceship not having returned with the supplies needed to create this energy.
Oh, is that it?
Wow.
What the hell? So did you know there's a sequel? There was a sequel that was never released, and it was called Where Were You Buried? And he instructed his auditors to check all pre-clears for recent deaths and then to physically locate their place of burial. It's just creepy stuff.
Wow.
Creepy.
All right, let's see if we can find someone being put into a doll body, because that was in here somewhere.
Yeah, you remember that one, don't you?
Oh, here's some more hypnosis is mentioned in this one.
Wait. Pause right there. This incident started off with a door that was shut. And I was looking at it as if hypnotized by it. Nothing else occurred. After working around this door for some time and nothing happening, I then began to get some vague impressions of other things, such as a wood and the fact that I was a burglar and that I had burglarized this house. After this facsimile of a little girl turned up, she seemed to have a knife wound in her chest, and I was convinced that I murdered her. After finding this out, I then had the idea that I was by the door ready to make a break for freedom, but that I heard a carriage coming to the door. I then began to experience fear. My auditor made me go over this again and again, taking pieces and going over them. As this was occurring, various other things began to show up and fill in until, in the end, I discovered several things which had their counterpart in my present life. During the recounting of these present life things to my auditor, another as yet unmentioned and unexplained incident in present life came to mind, and immediately I was filled with petrifying horror, which within seconds became a violent grief charge. This was a grief charge that I had never before experienced. Not only was my body crying and weak with no strength, but I was crying with anguish in every part of me, for I had found out that the thing behind the door that I was afraid of was my daughter's body as it was thrown into the whole hall of my house.
What the hell?
After what seemed an eternity, I was able to tell my auditor about this realization and a lot more besides. It would seem that I had been a statesman and that I had been under pressure to prevent a humane law from being passed. I had refused, and this was a method of retaliation. After my daughter's body was thrown in through the front door, I went into the lounge where I was beset by some people whom I presumed to be a stepbrother, some brothers or friends, and a woman who was either my wife or my sister, who were blaming me for my child's death. Overwrought, I am next in a wood, crying. I have found what seems to be my child, what seems to be white mist floating before my eyes, and feeling of the most abject helplessness and life doesn't matter anymore. The next thing I know is that I have the idea I've committed suicide, and then that I seem to
trigger warning. Sorry, fuck. This gets a bit.
The next thing I know is that I have the idea I've committed unalivement, and then that I seem to be a long way above the scene of the corpse and the house. I was all set with this engram, but on checking this over with my auditor, I found that in truth, I was not sure that this man hanging from a tree was me. After this, I went into a confusion. Later, when I came out of this confusion, I seemed to have collected more data. The engram still seemed more or less the same, except that I was a girl and that I was being chased by an intruder who caught me in the lounge and raped me and beat me. Then I seemed to be
This is a lot. Yeah.
Then I seemed to see this from a man's view, and the man was being tortured and forced to watch the girl being tortured. After this, there were more confusion. I seemed to go unconscious. My body was heavy and seemed to be devoid of any energy. The main thing I could see was a white rug. When I looked at the rug, I seemed to spin, or else pictures that made no sense appeared and blotted out the rug eventually. Blotted out the rug. Eventually, I was able to look at the rug. When I did, I found out that I was, to all intents and purposes, the girl being beaten. I had all the pain of being beaten, and then miraculously, I seemed to be the man with all the pain of having my wrists and hands tortured. Being the man, I would then feel very dizzy and end up being the girl.
That's so weird.
So he was bouncing to and from body, or like Dayton's or something.
Bouncing to and from bodies and perspectives. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This went on for some time. Afterwards, in order to stabilize things, we scouted previously, and I found I had recall of being a girl in France and coming to England, ending up by coming to this house to meet a brother or a lover and being tortured by some people to reveal my brother's or lover location. By this time, unfortunately, time was running short. On the last day, everything seemed to be unreal. I recognized all the parts of the incidents as present life things. The fireplace, cité, rugs, etc., as coming from a friend's house. The paneling of the walls from a recreation of old English house I had seen in a museum, and so on. This is how the engram has ended for the moment. However, so many things.
So he was realizing that he was pulling. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, Laura. He was realizing that he was pulling in things from his current life, like, do you know what I mean? Things that actually had happened or things that he'd actually seen, and he was recognizing, like, oh, this thing was from this, and da da da.
And he was acting them in present time. He was doing things and reacting in present time about them.
Mm-hmm.
And you were reading this at what age, Mirriam? You were reading this at 11 or something, did you say?
Yes. Yeah.
This particular story?
All the cases. I read all the cases.
All right, man. That's just really, really disturbing.
So this is how the engram has ended for the moment. However, so many things in it have appeared which fit into my daily life, which have never before had an explanation or seemed reasonable, now seem to fit. What is more, though, in the past I could not handle these things. Now I can go quite some degree. I now look forward to really clearing up this engram and being able to fully handle my life in the way in which I want to handle it.
Yeah, I bet.
And then that is how you get increased abilities as a Scientologist. And then you're like, oh, I owe this to Hubbard. Hubbard did this for me.
Like a cognition kind of thing, yeah. Okay, look, you know, I think these stories, it's very hard to kind of have fun, but with
I know, it's
like
so
that.
dark. But realize that it's just imagination. Just to like put this, I guess, caption that is to say, like, this is people's imagination. This is not
so how long with this guy? Like, how many years has this guy been having auditing and going more and more freaking insane in his head and coming up with this stuff, you know?
I mean, yeah, this must have been hours in, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Great point.
Hours. Like many hours. Like by
yeah.
the time people are going to do their briefcases and stuff, Bubba, come here, you crazy ass. They are already have done like hundreds of hours of auditing.
Yeah.
And then they start auditing themselves.
Yeah, it's nuts. So what I've done actually, right? Sorry to like, because it's a bit kind of a low mood. After that was terrible. I found a thing that sort of summarizes the most weird ones, right? If I'll put that
really quick. Hella Board said, "How could he be two people at once? Is that a thing in church?" Yes. So the and the spirit is jumping back and forth from two different bodies.
Yeah, right. It's just insane, man. This one. It's
either that or he's mixing two different lifetimes, but he was both in those lifetimes.
It's just nuts, man. This one, right? So, I think this is from Paulette Cooper's book, actually, where she talks about it. But it says, I think it is anyway. Yeah. I really want to read this book because it looks really good. So, past lives, in addition to remembering their life in the womb, Scientologists can remember the past lives of the immortal Satan or spirit. Hubbard used to believe that this Satan had existed for 74 trillion years, but now he believes it's longer. One Scientologist claims he fell out of a spaceship. Now, I don't know that number. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lots of triple zeros. It's got to be like trillion, hasn't it? 55 trillion?
Yeah.
50
years ago, yeah.
55 trillion years ago, he fell out of a spaceship and became a manta ray after having been killed by one. This Satan, which is said to be 1/4 or 2 inches in diameter and blind or dim-sighted at first, would look for a new body after each death, sometimes following a woman who looked like she might become pregnant. Oh, God. Some Satans...
It's a stalker Satan.
Some Thetans, however, had to go to implant stations to get a new body, and since there were more Thetans than bodies, some of them had to queue up as long as 22 million years just waiting for a body to go into. So, yeah, I don't even know.
So the implant, by the way, guys, the implant station is the explanation of why you can't just automatically recall without auditing your past lives, because you go to the implant station after you die and then they zap you, or they put you in a spinner, or they like the different types of like mechanisms that they do to you, and then that's why you can't remember.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't know that. I thought they just did like the whole putting you in a theater or something, and
oh, that's another that would be another one. Yeah, there's different types of implants. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Fucking cray.
To say the least. So, oh my God, this is some weird shit, man. So Scientologists believe that the past lives and deaths of their Thetans are the cause of some of their problems today. For example, Hubbard thought it possible that someone suffering from psoriasis may have contracted it with the remains of the digestive fluid when the person or his Satan was being eaten by an animal in one of his past lives. Okay. If a person frequently clenches his jaws or suffers from a pain there or in his tooth, it could be a vestige from the days that his Satan was in the body of a primeval clam, which was having trouble opening and closing its shell. Hubbard said that if pain in the jaw was associated with the fear of falling, the clam might have been picked up by a bird. And I know he believes that millions of years ago.
Make sure you stay close to your mic so that it doesn't cut out audio. Okay.
It's mad because the other day people were telling me I was too close and I was too loud. Oh, I don't know.
No, I think it's just the feed kind of like dipping. It's the Wi-Fi or whatever it is. I've been noticing this happening. So I don't know. StreamYard, it's maybe an issue in StreamYard, maybe.
Who knows? Hubbard believed that millions of years ago, many of us were this same primeval clam, which he calls a boohoo or a grim weeper. I'm sorry, but how can anyone like take this seriously. And if a science, I mean, if you've been born into it and you don't know any different, I understand. But people that are joining later in life, like what? And isn't the clam thing? Is that taught in oh God, what's it called? The one with the monkey things eating the chicken on the front of the book. What's it called? Science of Survival. Do you learn about the clams in that?
It's in a different, yeah, I think it's in there or a different book. T, do you mind going back to the stories? Because I just want to have a look over, or if you guys want to end it now. I don't want to like torture anybody, but I just want to have a look. I just want to have a look. I mean, the one that's on my mind is like this doll body one, because that was particularly whack. Oh, let me make that bigger for myself. Hang on. Yeah.
Chief Leader, 3000, Signal Man.
Just like scroll through.
Native
Village.
So
there's like the Roman army. Oh wait, Feeling of Falling. Is this the one? Yeah. Just stop it there. Oh, so okay. I also had an idea of me having a cat-like body. So like this idea that you can be different types of bodies. We backtrack past the spaceship to some strange place where none of the buildings had windows and were apparently made of metal, which was smoothed over like a cement covering or skin. Okay, scroll down.
Okay.
I lay down next to the bed, and she, taking a drug of sorts, lay on the bed. However, she died, and I was dragged out and thrown from the ship. I just want to take a moment to just laugh and enjoy how wacky some of this stuff is. So you guys don't mind. Okay, keep scrolling. Yeah.
It's unreal, isn't it?
Oh, this is the one, the 55 gazillion bajillion years ago. How funny. Okay.
Where's the engram? Oh, yeah. There we go.
Preclear's report. Okay, keep scrolling. Okay. I was on land in an atomic war, and I could smell what seemed like the smell of death and burning bodies. Pictures of absolute chaos. Da-da-da-da. Okay, keep going down.
Flying saucer over the ocean.
Needle dropping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. That was the manta ray one. I feel like
I want to know what that number is. That must be trillion.
Okay, keep going.
That is pretty crazy.
A young girl of 24, student, 6,254 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Preclear was a carpenter, aged about 35 when the story began, had been married for 12 years and had 3 children. Oh, this might be, is this the volcano one? Oh, he had a mistress. Anyways, keep going.
There's another volcano one?
There's a volcano story in here somewhere.
Dark circles. Babylon.
Oh, that's a Babylon one.
Should do that 15 to 20 hours to complete.
Yeah.
15 to 20 hours recommended. How many $1,000 is that?
That's a whole intensive, so I don't know how much an intensive one. Okay, so anyways, it's fine. You guys get the idea. I don't. Laura's gonna fall asleep. It's so late there. Oh, Doll's body. Right. I think I saw it. Stop.
It's wild.
Pretty sure I saw Doll's body.
Oh, it's robot body. It's robot body.
No, because it's a doll. Okay, this is the one. This is the last one because I want you guys to enjoy. Laura, are you up for reading this one or?
Yes. No, you do.
You're just the best.
I want to listen.
You're so good.
Okay. This isn't LRH reading it. This is people that are being audited and who have gone through, come up with past lives in their auditing sessions. Stories like these are the.
They were killed by a volcano, and all their family and all of the people were wiped out. Okay. The auditor contacted several engrams, but on final recheck, the engram with most charge was one not previously contacted, which appeared by chance and was ready to run. The PC had lost a robot body 468 million years ago. During the first 5 hours running the PC was coaxed to look further back at how he had obtained the body. He had at first a stick body on Mars. Later, he decided it was a doll's body. Some parts of the incidents were dub-in, meaning that he added in things that were not actually relevant or true to the incident. But even some of this reshuffled fitted into the final form, only slightly modified. It's literally someone's imagination. Okay, the story, as near final as possible, Ingram not completely flattened, runs as follows. The Preclaire was on Mars without a body, however many years ago that was, creating havoc, destroying a bridge and buildings. So he was a very naughty Thetan, okay? The people were called by an alarm to temple. PC went and broke the back pew and the temple tower. He wandered in town and saw a... Oh, because this is him. He doesn't have a body right now. He's just being really reckless. And he's like, destroying things, okay? And he wandered in town and saw a doll in a window and got entrapped trying to move its limbs. People seized the doll, beat it up, and threw the doll out of the window. It was a 30-foot drop. The doll was taken roughly to the temple and was zapped by a bishop's gun while the congregation chanted, "God is love, God is love." When the people left, the doll, out of control, staggered out and was run over by a large car and a steamroller. It was then taken back to the bishop, who ordered it to be taken in a lorry with others, which I think in England that's a truck, isn't it? A lorry. To dig trenches, to dig trenches or ditches for 2,000 years. The whole incident took nearly, 2 million years. Then it was taken and the body was removed and the PC was promised a robot body. The Thetan PC went up to an implant station and was put into an ice cube and went by flying saucer and was dropped at planet ZX432. Like, this person must have smoked something, like... oh my god. Okay,
this person would have done OT3, right? Because there's bits of that and there's bits of kind of...
This is before... I think this is before OT3 like even existed. Like, this is really pretty early stuff.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. It was drawn to a building to an emanator. PC was interiorized by spinning and confusion into a dummy training and indoctrination robot body. In some way not very clear, a transfer was made to another robot body and PC was told to look after it forever. It reported to a village after a doubtful encounter with a giant and heat stroke.
What the hell?
And was set to supervise.
Because the guy's body, because the spirit is stuck in the body in the doll. So, like, that's what they're saying. They're like, your Thetans, your body, your spirits could be stuck in mess, which is physical matter, energy, space, time. So it could be, you could have a body stuck in the TV, a spirit stuck in the TV, or you know what I mean? So yeah, and this one, it's a literal doll.
You got that. You got that, Lara. So now we know from this book, you can be a person, you can be an animal, or you can be an object, stuck in an object. Okay. It zapped and killed.
Sorry.
Or a clam from the ocean. Person, place, or thing.
Yeah. Or a manta ray. Manta ray.
Yeah.
A manta ray.
Or a red-tailed hawk.
This is what we're talking about.
Red-tailed hawk. It zapped and killed another robot, and PC took over its body. Oh, it took over another body. It zapped this robot and then took over its body to prove it could work. The PC was punished in first robot in a saucer and shipped off. Okay. Oh, in the first robot body, I think is what it means. Or something like that. The PC was punished in first robot in a saucer and shipped off. The saucer exploded en route, and body of robot was in space, falling in two parts, with PC vainly endeavoring to take care of it and the second body. Because he's like, I gotta hold on to this body. He's been back in the first body, but that's in two parts.
It seems like he's like falling from space or something. He's like, what body am I gonna stay in? I'm controlling two bodies right now.
Yeah. This was sucked by departure of a saucer into water in a dock. Divers brought it up, but the PC left it, he thinks, to attend to the other body. So he had to discard one robot body. There were other less real incidents of space stations and zapping and many Ingram command phrases. Which is like someone said something and that had an impact later on, blah, blah. On final recount, it came out the PC threw doll out of window, only 15 feet, and got stuck, then beaten up on the ground. There were body jerks and head throwing at intervals throughout processing and eye fluttering. During the fall of the doll, the body and head jerks were much more violent.
Right.
During the body and fall, the head jerks were much more violent. Because, again, I guess you can feel things as well and everything as long as the spirit is in the body, right? Because if your spirit's not in the body, you can't feel and see things.
I can't even follow these stories.
I think you can, like, Laura, you can feel things like even while you're not in the body.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're deciding to feel them.
My brain's not imagining this because I can't even get my fucking brain around it to picture it, man. I'm just like, what? And you were reading this like in your like.
I was laughing so hard. I was like, I'm good. I'm glad I muted.
And you know, like,
wasn't that the best one to read though? Like, isn't that the?
It's like you're literally spacey alien. I'm in the thing that I'm
looking for brothels,
and the disc were coming over, and now do I swing in the air and do I get this body or do I get this body? Oh no, I feel I have to do a touch assist on the body that I left into. Now I must do a whole leaving the body assist on the past life body that I had to let go so that I could take over this body.
Yes.
100%, Laura, you fucking nailed that.
Oh,
and there was ray guns, and there was the priest, and there was the I was a thing, and then I fell.
5-year-olds looking for brothels, 12-year-olds that have been. There was another
first
one,
and then I was molesting and that was and so then I was the one molesting myself in all of those lifetimes. So I was
there was a lot of rape.
I was the father and the right, but he was talking about and then the child, and I realized I was the one who murdered the child. But he was himself as the child, and then in the next lifetime he was himself as the dad, and then another lifetime. I don't know. That's what it seems like. It's like,
and even in the same lifetime, being the victim, the perpetrator,
right? And in the end, it was all me in different lifetimes. It's him in different lifetimes experiencing it as all of, I don't know. It's just it just so belittles. There's no facts of any of this. And even if there were facts, all these fucking lives and the way that they do auditing has nothing to do with everybody else's life in the world, because they're all believing this concept that is literally made up. So the only reason it's like magic. It's like, if you don't believe it, then it's not, it doesn't work. But if you do believe it, you're like, how did that happen?
Electric Boogaloo. This isn't LRH. This is from this book, and it's a collection of stories that people, collection of auditing. Not stories, because they're auditing sessions, cases.
But I do believe that L. Ron Hubbard put these together and put them in a book.
It says by L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
It says by L. Ron Hubbard. There was. It says that introduction note we read. It says from the editors, but it was like in his name, by his will, by his design. Hey guys, chuck all these. Just grab a whole bunch of case stories. I put like 25 of them in there. Print a book.
My brain's fried reading it, and I'm starting to go OT9 again, Mirriam. Look. One of the things from my blind's missing, so around about 5 o'clock it starts to go like this.
It's an implant station. Do not look into the light.
Into the light.
That's gonna be a boozy whip.
I'm not gonna lie. For a second, I thought I was like, "Am I tripping or what?" I'm like, I need maybe
what was in that lollipop?
I was like, did she just put on a lot of makeup or something? Why is she so white?
I am very white anyway, even without any makeup on. I'm just fucking. I need to get out in the sun. Just went on a holiday for 2 days. Didn't even go to
oh my god! Well, just.
Fucking child. But yes, I love him. I do.
Well, just try and stay away from those implant stations so that you don't get laser beamed into a
I know, right?
A doll body.
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck in a timeline of auditing all day, all year long.
Auntie Emma, it's a long one. It's been going for 3 hours and 22 minutes, guys.
Nice.
I'm sure I could sit with you all day though, but
well, it was all leading up to that one thing, but I think this has been I think this should be edited into a documentary is what I think. What do you reckon?
Yeah. Oh, don't, because I will. I'm still got to do part 2 of my documentary on the Australian spin-off of Scientology, Kenja.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, man. I just, that one took me months. So I think I'm just going to like just fucking sit there with what I've got and then say, and this is what happened. Because I just can't do it. It's too much. It's a lot. It takes a lot. I wish I knew a better way. But
no, you're doing great. We appreciate everything you do. I think we should try and wrap this up right about now. Do we want to like do?
Sorry.
Do you want to do a bit of the chat and then we close it off for? Oh, actually, let's get some feedback if anyone's still here.
There's still 104 people here.
Was this? My question is like, was this informative? Did we learn anything? What did we learn?
Yeah, we did. We all did. And if they didn't, it doesn't matter. I did. So here we go.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah,
I did too.
No, I'm, you know, and it is again.
But they
like,
all did. They all matter. I'm kidding, chat. You guys all matter.
Absolutely. But you know, our main message, as always, is we've got to get these fucking kids out of there and stop them going in and spreading awareness of what the fuck is going on. Like, it's not okay. And I think me and you, Mirriam, discussed like what we're trying to do behind the scenes. We need to have like a proper meeting and get stuff together and stuff. But even if we can't like take them down or whatever, have a regulation that children can't be audited until, well, just not audited at all would be ideal, but like tier 18 or something like that, you know, because it's just, there has to be something has to change. It's not okay, you know.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, you can't stop what people do at home though, you know.
Yes, you can, because that's called child abuse and that's against the law. So yes, we can stop what people are doing. You can enforce.
When they banned the states, they never caught anyone. They would raid people's houses, they'd raid these buildings where they knew they were doing it, and they never prosecuted anyone. They were really close.
What were they trying to prosecute?
Using e-meters for having the literature.
No, but they weren't prosecuting child abuse, were they? They were not investigating and prosecuting child abuse. So and so that's where, you know, it's where it's all happening. Like we need to, anyways, we'll
figure it out.
Yeah.
You guys better figure it out.
We're trying to save the planet, Lara.
Yes, Mirriam.
We are trying to clear the planet.
We're trying to clear the planet of Scientology.
Yeah. And also, like, you know, we got to figure out when we're going to move to Target 2, because that planet, I think it's about ready right now. What do you reckon, Lara?
This planet is ours. Every ocean, every mountain, every sea. This planet is ours. Do you remember that song?
Any recommendations for Lift the Mood?
No.
Listen to some of Lara's music. Listen to some of Lara's music. That'll get you going.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. And where it all stems from and comes from, and why it's always like, well, what's wrong with children doing that? Yeah, the route you're taking and this behavior and this nonsense, this is the problem.
Yeah. And I keep saying about that bloke I spoke to outside Perth Org, and I said, like, how is it, do you think it's okay for children to be auditors and be audited? And he's like, yeah, why not? You know? Like,
like, what is that kind of question? That's only going to make the child stronger and better. That's what they literally think.
Yeah, because we don't want them to be sent. No, this is the actual literal in their mind. Like, yes, because we're trying to stop them from being sent to a implant station at the end of this lifetime and getting stuck in a doll body somewhere. Like, this is what their mission is.
My cat's yelling at me for not being in bed sleeping.
What's your cat's name?
Bubba.
Oh,
she's purring.
Well, I reckon we should. This has been fun. I've learned a lot, guys. I appreciate you.
We've had major big success stories. We would like to share our big wins, and we're so happy that you guys are here. Baba.
Definitely had some cognition.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye to the world of life.
Bye.
She loves like these long. She loves. Baba, come. Do it again. Come, Baba. She's like, no. She jumped down. Whatever. Oh,
sassy.
Come. She's like, I'll do it. Come up. Baba, come up. Say bye to everybody. Come up. Say bye.
Laura, we appreciate you staying up late with us.
I appreciate it. It was so fun. That was good to do.
I appreciate everyone being in the chat and everything.
It was freaking awesome to meet you. And
you too. Thank you, honey. Yes. This was so fun and super informative. And it's really good to really be like, even for myself, when I'm saying things, I'm also going, oh, wow, it's nice to hear myself going, like telling my younger self, like, none of this was okay. And you're finally spotting it and saying, like, calling it out. All these moments are not okay. Children cannot consent. They literally are learning and developing their little brains into life. They're, you know, and so we're taking things away from them and like forcing them to do horrific things and to put them in mental, even imaginative situations is super like, it's so poisonous and detrimental for a child's life for the future that goes into their adulthood for the rest of their lives. And a lot of people don't get out of that. And I'm lucky. I'm glad to see Mirriam and myself out of it to a degree, and being able to reflect now from a different angle that will never allow us to go back in that kind of situation.
Perfectly said, Laura. I love that. Thank you. All
right,
have you got an outro? T, have you got an outro for us?
No, I fucking didn't even get the intro.
Do the intro as your outro. Intro as the outro. Intro as the outro.
Should we do?
Thank you to everyone. Thank you for being here, guys. You're both incredible souls. I just think you're so strong and fuck it. I don't have words. Honestly, I'm not very good at words together.
Can we play a little bit of neurotology, or will it let us do that, or?
You can play. You can play the Scientology one. Don't get copyright for that. But the neurotology one, the Saturday Night Live, you get copyrighted for every fucking time.
Damn, that would be like the perfect outro for this. Where they're like, so good.
I can put the other one on, but I don't really want to promote that, do I? I don't know. But yeah,
you got us learning and loving. Learning and loving with you. You're supposed to end it.
Do this. End it while she's doing it.
Okay. Guys, well, we'll see you later. You got us learning and loving.
No more talking Scientology. Please like and sub to these amazing ladies to get the word out. Share it on your community posts. All the stuff. And you know I'm terrible at saying goodbye, so I'm just going to go. Because I just, I'm bad at this shit. Bye. Learning and loving.